Me too.
Well, it's 9 now.
I said it live.
Now we're live.
Welcome to the Bro Show Live. I have no idea what number this is
88.
because I'm not looking at the screen. 88. There you go. Welcome to the show.
Wow. All right. Welcome to the show, everyone. I had like Skilbo talking in my background, three windows open. I was trying to close the jar. It was a rough start. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let's go around the panel and we will get into it. Dankman Dan, welcome, sir.
Good evening. Welcome, chat panel.
Good morning.
Yeah, I kind of confused today. Dankman Dan, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me here with the Bro Show, 9 p.m. Sunday nights. You can find us every other weekend, Awake and Bake, on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Cheers, Pat.
Pat, we'll be doing the Awake and Bake this Saturday.
I was thinking it was. Yeah, man.
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah.
Hey,
Wheels fell off.
Thank you for joining us. Where can everybody find you?
Who?
You, Painted Lady.
I didn't hear what you said.
I didn't
Nobody
either,
fucking talked, so I was like, I guess it must be me. Cheers, guys. Happy Sunday. Cheers, chat. You can find me on Instagram and Cannabuzz at Painted Lady Gardens.
Thank you for joining us. Spartan, thank you for joining us, sir. Where can everyone find you?
Everybody can find me on Instagram at Spartan Grown, all one word, or you can shoot me an email, spartangrown@gmail.com. This is a new microphone. Let me know if it's all fucked up, and I'll try to make adjustments.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather.
You just
Where
said
is red?
Red was missing.
Hell.
Damn it.
Keep saying his name. He'll appear just like Beetlejuice.
He's up north, isn't he?
That's right. He is up.
He was vacationing earlier. All right, Red, I know you're watching. Have a great vacation, Red. Actually, Red's probably busy about now, huh?
You mean busy or busy with like a bass guitar or sound effect behind it?
He's playing acoustic guitar for a fire to a bunch of annoyed people right now.
He's got a handpan.
Abolish Miss C. Welcome, guys. Where can everybody find you?
Going on? Abolish Farms. You can find me on IG, YouTube, and wherever you see MBGS Productions.
Miss Cantaloupe, you guys can catch me on Instagram. Nice to see you all tonight.
Thank you, guys. Stabby, you down there?
Man, you know I'm not trying to be found.
That's true. I keep forgetting that every time. Sorry. Skilbo?
I am Skilbo1 on Instagram and Skilbo17 on YouTube. Cheers, everybody. Cheers for Girly. I see you in chat.
What's up, guys? Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Please check out our sponsors, 2020 Mendocino, Easy Swap Pots for fabric pots, and State Genetics for sweet genetics. Speaking of State Genetics, they're doing a medical patient genetics sale starting tomorrow, 50% off their whole inventory. I'm sure they would like us to shout that out. So get a hold of State Genetics if you're interested in getting that stuff. I think that's going on for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, with Red not being here, I think we'd be remiss not to remind people to switch over from Top Chat to Live Chat.
Good point.
For the most extensive and up-to-the-moment chat experience.
So for the first thing that I wanted to talk about, I found a cool news article today, or a paper rather, that was sharing, basically they did a study of the various forms of getting high. So smoking, vaping, edibles, and that such things. I'll share this in the chat. And they found that most driving related skills are predicted to recover within 5 hours and almost all within 7 hours. And that's inhaled versions of THC. That they base that on 20 milligrams. So I don't know what 20 milligrams inhaled is, how they did the study.
20 milligrams of mids.
It could be they could have done it a lot of different ways. But then edible form lasted a lot longer, over 10 hours. So I thought that was really interesting. They're doing studies to try to nail down this thing where they can't, as of a couple of years ago, they couldn't prove that you were impaired based on your blood THC content, because if you had more than 0 nanograms in Michigan, you're technically over the limit, over the legal limit. Obviously, everyone that has a medical card would be over that number at all times and not impaired most of the time. So they're trying to dial in when you are impaired. So I thought that'd be an interesting thing for us to open the show with. What do you think, chat panel?
Well, I think it's good in a sense that essentially the way the laws are now, you might as well forfeit your driver's license if you have a medical card, right?
Interesting thing for sure.
But it seems like that they're not enforcing it to that degree, obviously. Not unless you're, well, the catch is if you get caught doing something stupid and, you're swerving or not
Smoking while you're
signaling or
driving.
whatever
You break
a
one law at a
stoppable
time.
offense might be. And then they're like, oh, well, you smell like weed. And then you gotta, whatever, they get probable cause on you and it's a bad day for you. And then you get hung up and you might get a DUI charge or something on your license versus, just a minor infraction. But if they do start nailing down exactly how much is in your system and how long it's been, they might start enforcing it more, or what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah, it's just kind of, if they get a good idea of how long it takes, and then they'll be able to be like, oh, you smoked an hour ago, you definitely.
There's a question in the chat from Fergroli. He says smell doesn't equal probable cause anymore, right? That is
True.
correct for the Michigan Supreme Court.
Certain states,
Yeah.
not all the states, but
Yeah, for
Cheers,
a lot of
Prophet.
states, it's not probable cause anymore. But if they have you on a stoppable offense or they're suspicious or whatever, they'll just be like, oh, well, there was, it's just compounding factors.
Greg22 in the chat says, I learned how to drive while high. I've always driven high.
I've said so many
Allegedly.
times on so many of these damn shows, but let me repeat it again. It's only break one law at a time. You know what I mean?
You stole that from me.
No,
But the thing is,
sir.
if
I'm older
cannabis-
than you. No, I've had this
If
for too many
cannabis
years.
is your medicine, then it's not something that you're getting intoxicated by,
Right. Exactly.
So don't you think the med card would, like, if you did get pulled over and you were obviously tested, and you had your med card and you're like, well, it's my medicine, what am I supposed to do? Don't you think you would get a little bit?
that's
light?
going to come out in a court case later on if it gets to that point, but anything that you say will be used against you. So
I believe there's a Supreme Court precedence that your med card will get you out of a DUI charge itself, but you still get in trouble for sure.
I'm not 100% sure, but I can recall reading somewhere that if they ask you, you have to tell them that you have a medical card. But other than that, I would suggest you say nothing at all.
Mash is giving good advice. Always get high before you go get your picture taken, so you always look high.
But just as for the sake of the discussion, I mean, of course, I think that it's stupid to have any kind of a number, because anybody who smoked knows that everybody has different tolerances and affects
for
everybody
sure.
differently. So what I am not for is impaired driving. So then it's just a matter of defining what's impaired driving. And so I think it should fall under the same kind of stipulations as everything else. This isn't alcohol as far as we can't have a, blow into a breathalyzer and come up with a number, but you can still have the other signs, like driving really slow, driving really
Right.
fast, driving, swerving in and out of traffic, being a bad driver. If you're really fucking high, blazed out of your mind, but you're driving perfectly fine, what's the crime? You know what I mean?
That was
Again,
always
there's got to be, there's got to be.
Can you tell, or am I impaired?
Yeah, that was going to be kind of my suggestion, that it needs to not be like a number test, but maybe like an impairment test, like some kind of like physical test you have to do that would show if you can drive a car or not.
Those are always at the discretion of the officer, though. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, oh, well, your eye twitched, or...
Yeah, but with today's technology, the officers can have a camera on them, and they have cameras on their cars. So now the evidence is more so to where we can't. It's not just a judgment call. That even the officer is going to have a review of what they're doing. So I don't know. I feel more comfortable with still prove my impairment. Don't put.
I'm not I'm not trying to badmouth cops, and I won't sit here and try to praise them either. There's good ones and bad ones, just like every walk of life. But you know, the thing is, a lot of those body camera footages, it's not so great, and you know, it's not the same thing as being there in
Right.
person and getting the officer's account, and they're going to be a trustworthy source too. So you know, it's just. And by the way, speaking of discretion, this is not legal advice. Disclaimer.
Right. Well, anything that's not a hardline number is going to be up to discretion, right? So it's just ultimately going to be somebody deciding if you're impaired or not, or it's going
No.
to be a number that decides if you're impaired or not. So
Now, isn't there some bullshit involved with this? Like to the point where this test is invalid because these tests can't tell the difference between THC that's been sitting in your system for 2 weeks and the stuff that's been sitting in there for 3 hours. And we also can't like necessarily dog on the police for taking it because these companies are paying them a lot of money to take these tests and use them.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot
the
of
cops don't
bullshit.
make the laws either, right?
it's true that somebody else makes the law or whatever, and then they gotta. I know that they did do the roadside tests here in Michigan, and they found that they weren't reliable. So of course they expanded the tests and extended it and did it in more places. So they're still doing it now.
That shit
The
sucks
cops know
too.
it. The cops know it's bullshit. It's just, I mean, it's free money for them to take it on.
Well, they lost a lot of revenue.
So there's a really good advice in
Became legal.
chat. I just want to spotlight Stogna. I can't. I'm gonna fuck this up. Stogna like Bologna. Oh, Stonia like
Stony like bologna.
Love
Yeah,
it.
Stony like baloney, dude.
Anyway, he says eye contact, manners, and being respectful will go a long way with police. I can't, stress that enough.
Oh, here's
That's
one
not the
thing I
people.
tell my kids.
It's not somebody you'd be an asshole to. It doesn't work. I'm just saying.
This is what I tell my kids. I tell them know your rights, and I try to educate them what their rights are. And the most important thing I can stress is don't seek justice on the fucking street. Seek it in the court. That's where you seek justice at. Don't sit there
Right.
and argue with the cop. Whether
They'll
he's
make it
wrong
worse
or right,
for sure.
it'll make it fucking worse for you.
Police officers' whole job is to gather evidence to use against you in court. So everything you say for them is for that purpose. So keep that in mind.
I said, don't say shit.
Yeah. Fifth Amendment right. Shut the fuck up.
Yep.
Shut the fuck up or get a free ride.
I mean,
Your
being
choice.
courteous, you as long as you're not doing anything wrong, really, you're fine. If you're the guy that's like, I know my rights, I'm gonna shut up or whatever, then you give them a whole lot of reasons to pry into shit, and they can find things that are wrong. So
Yeah, don't go
sometimes being
pulling some
courteous is
sovereign
nice,
citizen shit.
Yeah, don't be the
No,
guy.
don't be
that's
that
gonna
guy.
use and stuff like you can.
I'm just saying to fucking realize that everything that you say.
shredders
from the
that
time
always
you're
get in the
stopped-
last word.
No, don't be that person either. You're gonna win some and you're gonna lose some. Cheers, Indica. Just don't say too much. They're not your friends. They're paid to do a job.
Here's the thing, though. If I'm caught smoking a joint while I'm driving, and blatantly filled the car with smoke, I ain't gonna fight that shit. But if I'm, just lollygagging with nothing in my system, then they want to test you. That's where I
But
have a
what if
problem.
you have some of that dank ass primal punch in the car and it's just loud as shit? You know what I mean?
That's
Now we
just-
go back
to
to
me,
that
it's-
again. That's not a reason to pull me over, but it could be
To
a reason
me-
to fuck with me.
And it should be just like traveling with beer or a bottle. As long as I don't
agree.
have it within my reach and it's in a locked container, that shouldn't be an issue.
So when you're car
Make sure you
shopping,
lock your six packs up, guys.
car shopping and you have the option to get a moonroof or sunroof, get that shit. Worth it.
Yep.
Worth it. I'm just saying.
For the riding experience, absolutely.
I mean, I'm just saying, you open that up and smoke goes up,
Yeah.
man.
You open the sunroof.
Now you just need the old pickup truck that has that slide window in the back behind you and shit. You just camp those windows
Remember the
down.
little angled mirrors that were on the side?
Those are called opera mirrors or
Yeah,
theater
dude.
windows or some shit. Yeah, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
77 Chevy van. Rocked.
You could just hold it there.
Or just go fast enough and roll the fucking windows down.
Exactly.
That's true.
That's the Spartan
Then
way.
but then then your joint goes flying out the window.
Hey,
Not if you get your
Turns all fucking
crafty.
sideways.
Why
My
you got
eyes
your
are dry.
This won't go anywhere.
Get a contact stuck to your fucking cheek now.
You just gotta tie. What was
Rays everywhere.
that viral video? That guy that just tied his shit to a balloon, and then when the cops pulled him over, he just let the balloon go, and it flew out. The cop tried to shoot the
That
balloon.
was so funny. Yeah, that doesn't work. Well,
It
did
works
you
to
guys
make
do
you
anything
internet
cool?
famous.
You guys do anything fun in your gardens this week?
Yes, I finally reset everything in flower, man. So we got an all new lineup of 8 plants in flower. I have 2 of the headlights. I have 2 of the blueberry sunsets that I got from Sequence. I have a Keweenaw squirrel in there. I have a GG4, and I can't remember the other one off the top of my head.
This is the first time you've ran that blueberry sunset?
Yeah,
I'm
well,
excited
the
to
2
see
different
how
ones.
that
Of it.
turns out, yeah.
I like the way they're growing, man. They're growing really nice and strong. So we will see. Oh, the other one is the strawberry gelato. That was what it was.
Prophet says he was pulled over for having his sun visor down. Prophet, I would say you were stereotyped. Were you wearing ICP gear while you were pulled over?
Hatchet man.
That's why.
Knowing him, probably.
well, I have a.
What are you talking about? He has the logo in his back window. You
kidding,
know
guys.
it. You know he's got the logo
Oh,
in his
dude.
whole back window. You know it.
Growing up, I had an uncle with a purple car. It was like a Omni, like little fucking car, purple car with Juggalo hatchet men all over it.
No.
Unbelievable, dude. Yeah.
Somebody out
So
there maybe
funny.
watching this show has possibly seen the
I hope so.
Juggalo-mobile. The purple
Saw this purple
Juggalo-mobile.
car in Jackson. Shoot me a DM. Oh man, if somebody has a picture, I would die.
I gotta ask you if you know. Have you seen the cars that are the different designs of the different cereals? There's a guy. He's got I think 2 or 3 different cars, and they're all, one's Trix. I think the other's
cool.
Frosted Flakes. The other one, oh, he's big pimping in his cars, man.
Is he around there?
Well, you gotta go down around Francis. You
Oh,
gotta go
okay.
certain areas of town.
Thanks.
to
Okay,
see
I
'em.
feel you. Yeah, I'm not lingering in that area. I did kilts on all of my walls and on my floor, so I spent about 3 days paint fume high. That was awful.
Sounded like it said you were wearing a kilt for 3 days, doing the
I heard
ceilings and
kilt.
floors.
I heard
My
kilt
mic
too for a
fucking up?
second. I heard the same thing, and it took me a while for my brain to work it out.
I
Cheers,
was
Spartan.
thinking
Thank you,
Norwal
brother.
was in your house.
My mic being bad?
Painted lady, you're just gonna let that go by with no comment?
I must have missed it. I was reading chat. I can't do 2 things at the same time.
She's in the same boat as us, Gilbo.
Yeah, I chopped down some dirty Kush breath. 3 different phenos of that. We're gonna freeze it. Well, it's actually sitting in the freezer right underneath me here, getting ready for the wash. That'll be up next. Pretty excited about that. I put some 2 more great big primal punches in flour. Doc's Gorilla Glue 4 we put in the flour. 2 more large platinum Kush breaths we put in the flour. Spartans, that's what I'm calling it. Spartans seed pheno hunt we're doing is just kicking ass. We're on day 42. We got some really good lookers. I found a great pheno that I was looking for, so we got a really sweet grape. Pretty excited about that. That's coming off the Tsunami seed pack. Those pretty the phenos look all pretty the same. I have like 5 of those going out of that pack, and they're all pretty similar. One's real short though, and the other 4 are very similar, but they all stack real heavy. So pretty excited about that, Spartan. Thank you for those.
Dude, I was
You
super
forgot off
happy
the
to share.
you forgot the best part.
Which was
Your cool bot.
yeah. Today, shout out to that 420 wife for being the best support out there ever. She
Is that expensive?
well, the whole get up, it's about $1,000.
Oh
Okay.
boy, I thought it
So-
was like some cheap thing.
Well,
So for-
between that and get the air conditioning too that runs it. So, but
Damn.
anyway, we had.
Can you explain what it is for people?
Okay, we picked up CoolBot for the hash room here, so we can run cooler temperatures in the summer. Basically, it's just an override for your thermostat on your air conditioner that allows you to drop temperatures to like possibly 34 degrees,
What temp do air conditioners normally stop at, Dan?
60 degrees. So
And
yeah,
that's not cold enough.
Well, no, you're not going to get a great quality product, and you spend so much time growing it. You want it to be cool in here where you're trying to hash it out.
That's
So
really cool.
that'll
Man.
be here in about the 19th, and we'll be back in business. We got a whole freezer full of cannabis to be processed. Shout out to JR Annabis. I got his cookies and chem in here waiting. They're first up to go.
You ever like step back and think about how many dollars you have into making hash between like the freeze dryer, the shed?
Why you want to do that to him, bro?
No, I mean it's like having a project car or whatever. You're like,
For this
"Fuck."
basic ghetto setup, with the building, it's about 10 grand.
It's amazing, man.
The shit that comes out of there is
Oh, dude.
fucking amazing, Dan.
Thank you,
Nice.
guys.
Next,
Well, the one good thing about that is you guys are saying, well, it's not cool enough. Maybe it's not cool enough, but he's buying himself time that he can work with the already frozen material before he starts. You know what I mean? And it'll be good.
well, he can freeze it until it's ready. But
That's what I'm saying.
it's
It gives him
all-
more time to work with it though before it comes up instead of working in a room that's like 60 degrees.
Yeah, it just doesn't wash well at that temperature. You're not going to get the dumps you want. The trichomes are going
Right.
to release from the plant matter. But yeah, we're looking for rooms below 44 degrees.
well, the problem is the people like us that want your stuff are not going to wait until winter until you can wash again.
That's
So you-
it. Yeah, we didn't have a problem in the winter, and we knew this was coming, and it just came sooner than I was hoping. But it's okay. We're rolling again.
Blue Kiss says you need a walk-in cooler.
That's basically what we're building.
Yeah, truly.
If you look up a CoolBot, that's what it says. It's how to build a walk-in cooler.
I mean, you're only a couple steps away from just buying a fucking cooler now, so you can have an extra grow room instead of a hash shed. It's already insulated grow room. Bam.
I think there's a lot of people that do that in the like market garden world where they need just like a
Florist.
small room to like they'll go and
Florist.
do a big harvest. Yep.
Yeah, florists use cold rooms for plant cutting and preparation.
A lot of farms, vegetable farms, same thing. You just need a little room so you can just throw a bunch of stuff in it on a big harvest and just store it for a little bit before you can
Think
get
of it like a cellar.
Yep.
Narwhal says a lot of home butchers get a cool bot.
And it's cool because you don't have to run it all the time, just when you
No,
need it.
we just run it when we need it. So I'm pretty excited.
Very cool.
That
How much you think it would cost to like do a shipping container up, like spray foam it, hook it up? with
right now, I think we can get a shipping container for like $2,800, a 54 footer. So
Then
go
you gotta
from there.
finish it out. Yeah.
I would. That's a lot of room to cool.
Yeah, but if you spray foam it and everything, you'd be surprised how well, because I've hooked up a mini split to a shipping container before, and it gets pretty fucking chilly in there, man.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Actually, I was looking into Red's mini split because he had two, but his was way oversized for what I needed in this little 10 by 12. His was like 54,000
The
BTU.
spray foam is no joke, man. Those fumes. Oof.
You can always bury
Yeah.
the
They can
container
gas up. Actually, what we're gonna do, we have the R9 or 15 installation right now, but we're actually doing another.
They do
foam.
make a low VOC version. Like they are always improving on that stuff. If you get like the professional grade spray foam. I
So
think
we'll
it's like
do a hard
blue or
surface.
purple.
Hard surface foam board over top of our walls here, and they recommend R25 in your walls and ceiling.
Take a
And we have
pickaxe hole and
R15 right now.
The cool bot people recommend R25. Okay.
Yes.
Just dig a big ass hole, sink that bitch in the ground, let the earth insulate it.
That's what I would do. Cover it in Rust-Oleum or rhino lining or some shit and then bury it.
Oh yeah. Then have a secret underground entrance. That'd be dope.
Now there's some secret
Yeah,
layer
it-
shit. That's good.
I say the entrance is a rope ladder that descends from a treehouse. You can only get to from a drawbridge from another treehouse. It'd be real cool.
It's cool until you get older.
No,
I am
You're
older.
stuck in the first tree because you can't get to the other one.
Ah, my hip.
I just want to smoke a joint.
So you put a conveyor belt between the two tree houses. That way you just sit down and they'll just take you across, man.
It's all about the adventure.
Yeah, man.
B says, "What about a brand new septic tank?" I love that he specified because his are full of Mountain Dew piss.
What if it's slightly used?
Just Mountain Dew pee in there.
We did have a relevant, well, not a relevant, but a good question off of the talk of Mountain Dew piss. With the eyes.
Perfect.
What
Nice
was that?
segue. Let's hear
Okay,
it.
what was that
Let's
question?
go from that question. Let's save ourselves. Greg22 says, any cleaning advice for a full tent reset? What tools, products, and strategies do you use?
Bleach water.
Bleach. Yeah, that's my typical thing. Couple glugs.
Talking about a tent, a full
Don't
tent.
recommend Mountain Dew piss. I still don't
You know
get the
what?
connection there.
Yeah, I
Talking
don't know
about clean
about-
spaces,
We have-
clean spaces, guys. That was the segue. Clean spaces.
Have you guys ever
That's
seen them
all over
post
everything.
mop?
Jesus.
Them little spin mops? You put them in a little bucket, push the handle down, and it spins. We use those, man. We dip them in the spin mop, bleach water, do wall ceilings. You could do it all with it. It was great.
I like to spray with alcohol. And it dries faster. It's quicker and it dries faster. Done.
I think I would pass out if I sprayed alcohol on all the walls.
Oh yeah, you got to mask up for sure. You got to get in there. Shh,
Hardcore.
get out.
Man, that's a good IPM
Or you could
strategy
go in there
too.
with a can of beer.
Holy
and make
shit.
it-
Yeah,
Fucking oven
autoplugs up
cleaner,
too.
man. Just get the oven
And
cleaner
it's
out.
I'm in there for like 10 seconds and I just spray out the whole fucking room and then I'm like
I actually like the smell
I'll
of
kill
bleaching.
myself.
Yeah, that sounds horrible, to be honest with you.
If
We're
you are
just-
sensitive to bleach and you don't want to spray alcohol everywhere, you could always use H2O2 as well.
I
Okay.
use Simple Green because I like to smell Simple Green.
I like the smell of the bleach, especially in the wintertime. It reminds me of going to the
Ew.
pool.
Okay, so why I don't use bleach is because the proper way, I guess, of bleach is once you use bleach and water or whatever you're using to.
Yeah, you got to rinse it off after.
You have to let it dry and then go back and rinse it with straight water to get the dried bleach, I guess, that stays behind on the wall.
Since you're saying, I guess I'll repeat. I've done this. I've not rinsed it and then grew plants in there. And as soon as your leaf touches the wall, it dies instantly, like turns brown and dies. So would not recommend leaving the bleach on the wall.
And don't add soap either because you'll create fucking mustard gas.
Oh yeah, bleach pneumonia. Yeah.
But I was trying to save a step.
Yeah, I do. I just use Simple Green. See, I fucking use that instead of bleach. I'm done.
Simple Green works. That's what we use at work for not plants, but it works. It's good for cleaning.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question from Fredo. He says, what is the preferred way to keep your clones or mothers, but at a slow growth pace? I'm running out of room.
Grow them in soil. That's really slow.
Turn
Just
the
Not-
intensity,
okay,
turn the
I have-
intensity of the lights down first.
Just cut 'em as a
Here's
clone.
a perfect way.
Reset 'em.
Perfect method to keep your clones and moms growing slow. Get them the fuck out of the grow room. You just need to keep them in veg. Put a shop light over them.
Yeah, you can. Well, the
Exactly.
problem with that is if you have a not intense light, they just stretch really fast, and then they grow like shit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sometimes
you just
they
keep
give
that
them a
shop
good
light
light, actually,
slammed
is
down
nice.
on top of it, and I mean I've gotten away with doing that for years. Every time I run out of room in the grow room, because I've only got a 3x3 tent that feeds my flower room, and sometimes I take too many cuts, and that shit's got to sit outside the grow room just under a shop light.
I say just hard top it, man. You want to take the best growth, the newest growth. You don't want the woody shit. So if you've got a mom that you're holding on to, one of the ways to control it is to take nice, large, healthy clones.
We're talking numbers
Keep them
here.
in a little bit smaller pots.
Right,
I
really
think
hard tops.
cut it. You know, just chop as it grows. Just chop it. That slows them the fuck down. And then if you want, just reset it. Like if you got a mom that's getting too big, if I get a mom that's starting to even look like she's gonna be stressed in any way, or like she's starting to look shitty, fuck it. I'm not even gonna try to fuck with her. I'm just gonna take a nice clean clone of her, reset that bitch. Just the whole process of taking a clone is going to give you 3-4 weeks. So take 3-4 clones. That way, if one doesn't make it, you still got the backups.
I've seen a lot of people do like massive moms too, and I think that the only reason why you would want to do that is if you're trying to feed like a large cultivation operation. Like my moms don't ever get past like a 3-gallon pot, right? Before they get recycled and I'm making a new clone into quote unquote mom. It's more like I just have small donor veg plants and reset them.
I have a theory. I feel like the people that grow very large moms believe heavily in the genetic drift thing. And they don't want to take clones a lot. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know.
Due to stress or something like that?
I think, some people subscribe to the theory that if every time you take a clone, it's going to drift or get worse or whatever. And so
but that's never been substantiated, though.
No,
that's never been substantiated.
I think what happens
that's not the point that I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I know.
That's not necessarily what happens. But what can happen is, every time you're taking cut on a plant, that's another vector for viruses and stuff, and a clone can pick up something. And
that's not what I'm saying, though.
But we have a clean tent now. We just wiped off the bleach from the walls. Everything is groovy in there.
Never mind.
I'm trying.
Bouncing all over the place.
You got to get it.
I'm not trying to argue these people's point. I'm just trying to say the people that believe in that point are probably growing larger mothers. Do you agree or disagree?
Yes, I agree.
Definitely. And as far as like the slowing down your veg or whatever, I mean, like they were saying, you really can veg under just like a damn CFL ball. It just comes down to how like willing are you to let your plants be all stretchy and possibly scraggly. I mean, you can really recover a lot of stuff once you get into your flower room. It's just how do you want to grow? You can save a lot of money and kind of veg very cheaply.
I mean, you can save a ton of money by just taking cuts off your plant like every month and sticking it back in cups of cocoa. Red's here. I'm going to let him join us here. But yeah, you could just clone your plants like every month in the same cups of cocoa for free if you wanted to. Or you can leave them under a light and they'll get all stretchy, and then you gotta kind of rehab them back. And that's kind of a subpar thing. Welcome, Red. Pause the show, Red.
Giving us the 1 second.
I had to pause the show. Hold on. Let me get out of I don't know what's happening. This is the awkward moment where I log in and I'm usually not live. Okay, now I'm here. I'm hearing looping. Oh, there it is. The looping stopped.
This is all not new to us.
Okay.
Guys,
this is usually in the pre-show, guys. I'm sorry.
And
We
then
get
the
this
red,
talk
red
every
leather,
time.
yellow leather, red leather, yellow
Leather,
leather.
yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
Put it in.
How is the audio? Can I get one of these? One of these.
Then we tell them
One
it's
of
good,
these.
and then the show
Yeah.
starts, and you guys tell them to turn it up. So let's do that.
And if you like one of these, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay.
And if you are hanging out and chat with us, cheers, everybody. Hit that top chat, live
Fucking
chat, drop
crack me
down to
up.
live chat, hang out live with us. I'm sure Skillbar already gave you all the routine in my place, but since I'm here, come on and hang out live. What's going on, everybody? I'm decided to do is come swinging on in through like a wrecking ball. So actually a very
Not gonna
disorganized wrecking ball.
Red, we thought you were in Petoskey still.
Well, you could say that I might still be in Petoskey.
Oh.
No, I'm not actually. Back downstairs.
Say we recognize that
I see
fucking
your plant.
Say, I know
behind
your
you.
fucking
See the dead
background.
plant?
You got to put a different background up, bro.
The 10-year-old plant.
Sad plant.
Right here. How about I just want the gray.
Plant that's surviving solely on his computer screen light.
It's
You know he's never opened that curtain.
This goes out to my backyard. Sure. This
Oh,
little
the
balcony.
backyard one, he's open that one.
I was thinking about putting up actually, this is a temporary location. I was trying to make it slightly more professional for Polarity Science. If I can plug that one, we'll be going live for episode 2 this evening. 11:20 I have it scheduled for. So there's a premiere out there. Hop on over to the Polarity Science YouTube channel. You can find me over there this evening. We get into episode 2. We're going to actually get into some more formalities. We're going to get into probably some entheogen topics. So, not to keep monologuing too long, but yeah, I was up in Petoskey for the weekend. Went up there, had a little vacation. It was nice, man. We only went for a couple nights. We had a little road trip planned up.
Red chat's saying this is about the time you'd normally be finishing rolling your first joint.
Rolling my first joint 936. That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one rolled up here. Literally just got off the road. Had to swing through Irish Hills on the way back. Had to go through the farm. Top off some water. You guys know how it goes when you leave your plants for a few days. You got to make sure they're all good. You know, I actually have to go to work tomorrow, back at it. So finally back at it after a 14-day quarantine that I've been under. I haven't actually been able to work for quite a while. So that was kind of one of the last hurrahs, you know, just out of this quarantine. I had a good chance to get away for a couple days and definitely took advantage of it. I love the Petoskey area. It's about as far north as you can really get until you hit like the Mackinac borderline area and on into the Upper Peninsula. And
Red was vacationing, but he was sitting on sand dunes out in the middle of nowhere. Don't worry.
Okay, can we talk about the fact on how there's not 2 feet of snow? It's April 11th right now, and it was sunny, sand dunes. I was basically could have been wearing shorts. I mean, it was a little chilly, so I had some jeans on, but bare feet on the sand dunes. April 11th, there should be 2 feet of snow in Petoskey.
Did you swim in your banana hammock?
No, thought about dipping in the water a little bit, but it's way too cold, way too early in the season for that, especially
would have lost your worm, dude.
Worms disappearing at that point. Exactly, guys. It was an excellent time though. Actually, yeah. Oh, sweet. We did a ton of rock hunting, found all kinds of like volcanic rock, some serious pieces of just straight like iron ore, a lot of like solid iron ore. Petoskey stones like a mask over here.
Petoskey.
Oh, dude,
Nice, dude.
Yeah, dude, I like those.
So much coral was found. So, guys, the awesome thing about the area of
Show and tell with Rescuer Farm
is that prehistoric life, fossil life, is all over our coastline. Basically, during the creation of dinosaurs, during the same time that bacteria, microbes, and fungi were just getting going, way before the dinosaurs existed. The Great Lakes, it was all saltwater and covered with coral. So there was tons and tons of coral life, sea life that existed throughout the Great Lakes region. And over the millennia and over the millions of years, that obviously died off. The glaciers formed. We have a huge deposit of fresh water that exists now. And all cobbled up in pebble and rubble are these beautiful fossil coral, almost.
That's what Petoskey stones are, right?
That's exactly what Petoskey stones are. Yep, they are fossil coral. Exactly. You go down into the Keys or down in Florida or anywhere on the coast that has salt water, you can usually find pieces of chunks of not so fossilized coral. You'll find almost freshly dead coral for the most part, but this is fossilized, so it almost looks, it's a nice polished stone for the most part, and it inside is and there's all kinds of fossils.
Brad, get one wet and show the camera.
Yeah, okay.
For the
totally.
We have people that aren't from Michigan watching.
Yeah, they're beautiful pieces. They hold quite the kaleidoscoping image across them, which is basically polyps. You know, they were polyps at one time. The polyps then died off, and what we are left with is this beautiful rock fossil. You know, they're all polished up right now. So, in the meantime,
how did we get through that with sequence? Asking Red to get it wet, and nobody made a comment.
Oh, that's a good point. Well, Painted Lady walked away, so I got lucky.
There you go.
Talking about me polishing my stones or nothing. I mean,
she didn't make a comment about me asking you to get your stones wet.
Stones polished.
Get your yeah.
And then Lady Red went and got them wet for him.
Over here getting my stones polished, and you're not even making any dirty comments about it.
Damn it! I missed. I was headed downstairs because I was going to give an update after you were done telling your story. on my little JTR.
Oh, Red, she's gonna give us a downstairs update.
Yeah.
We got a couple
Well,
good ones. Here's a little one. It's got a real nice.
you want me to give that update?
You see it there?
There it is. That's what I wanted to see right there.
Oh yeah, we got a couple real nice pendant sized ones, but we got a couple unique larger ones. This one's got a little bit of, over on this side, it's obviously kind of been scraped away, but for the most part, I mean, these things are what, 400 some odd million years old. It's amazing what you can find along the coastlines. You can find dinosaur bone knuckle. We found a real chunk of rock that I almost think it might even have been some kind of a femur knuckle of some sort. Like it almost had like, but it was a stone.
They're
So
getting a lot
I love
harder
it.
to find.
I told
Hey, Red.
Oh yeah.
Dinosaurs aren't real. Don't be spreading that
They've been-
propaganda.
Hey, Red Jack is asking if you can show on your hand where in Michigan you found
This
these
is a
rocks.
fantastic one.
Oh yeah, show them where these rocks were on your hand, Red.
If we can
Where were
catch
you
it. I can't-
vacationing?
The lighting's terrible. Okay, so here's our thumb. This is the. I don't know if I'm
Nice
backwards or
job.
not.
No, you're
Am
perfect.
I-
You got it
am I
right the
perfect on
first
this
time.
one. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is the
What a pro.
east coast of the state. Okay, Detroit would be somewhere down here.
We know where we're at on the hand.
All right, we're gonna come down here. We're gonna take 94 down to Chicago. Okay, but what's really cool is Michigan has three main express highways or byways that kind of go up the state. Right, we have I-75 that you're kind of gonna get up the east side of the state over here. We have
What the hell
127.
kind of answer is this?
127
I don't know,
that's going
I'm
to bring
hanging
you up
in
the
there.
middle of the state here, and we have 131 that bring you up the west coast of the state. So
Uh-oh.
Oh, we're gonna lose them before we ever.
way the fuck almost.
You must have gone through a
Am I-
tunnel.
Am I catching out?
You went
Hey,
through a tunnel.
dude.
So it's all it's all of the forest. We hit the forest is what happened, and all the forest took down the reception a little bit, and also some dunes. This whole coastline is all
Dunes, man.
dunes, all sand dunes. This coastline is all fucking mostly it's like cliff and coastline.
Cliffs
you know,
and
it's
rocks, man.
cliffs
Yeah.
and rocks. It's really cool. Most of the northern part of the state is all sand. And this is really bizarre because when you see development occurring and they're digging into like it's not hills, it's mountainside. They're digging into some mountainous area. They're not digging into rock or anything like that. They're literally digging almost hundreds of feet into sand and just pulling sand, mountains of sand away. It's like desert with forest growing on top of it. It's a very, very unique terroir, if you will. It's all just hundreds and hundreds of depths of feet of sand with pure forest growing on top, the moss, the pine, the oak, birch, and everything. It's surplus of birch resource, surplus of oak and pine resource. It's absolutely amazing forest area. So Jack, if you go up to west side of the state,
Up your
very
thing.
far north, it's called Petoskey, and there's a little bay. There's a very large bay body of water up there. And also up in that same area, there's two of our three largest inland lakes. One of them is called Burt Lake, and the other is called Torch
Baby.
Lake.
I thought it was
Torch
called Baby
Lake,
Come
man,
Back.
incredibly clear water. So this area of Michigan that we have is just a fantastic, beautiful.
Agree.
I don't want to spoil it and turn it into like the area that all the tourists want to come to, but I kind of do. You know,
It already
definitely-
happened there,
It's
dude.
already happened. I mean, yeah, it's already there. By all
Way
means,
too late for Torch Lake.
bring your money to our state. You know, come on in and enjoy some of our cannabis and
Yeah.
everything that honestly the nature, and we have a vast wilderness in Michigan. I was talking about on our way up. We go through a handful of metropolises, like I was talking. Those three main highways. Go
Very, very
through.
few.
Well, that's it. That's why we have three main highways that go up the center, up the states, because there's only a handful of metropolises. They're all mostly along the bottom of the state: Grand Rapids, Jackson, Detroit. Across the bottom, we have Lansing in the middle, and then we basically have Traverse City and Petoskey that are
Right.
up in the top, and that's it. There's big, don't get me wrong, there's big cities, there's Flint, there's Saginaw, there's all these other big cities, but those take up the west.
They're all in the
portions part
bottom.
of the
I
state.
tell people we drive east and west.
They're
all
all
the
down
time.
here. This is all forest. You get up here and you're also north of the 45th parallel. It's a different country, man. It's so, and like I was talking about the birch and really going off topic, I love it just because of those wild resources.
There's a
that we
different
really
kind of
have.
people up there, Red.
It's most certainly a different kind of people up
I'm
there.
the
It's very-
different
oh,
kind of
Dank Man
people.
Dan's
Yeah,
one of those
Dan's
kind
up
of
there,
people
yeah.
Dank Man
Fucking
Dan's
camping
most
on
certainly one of
Dan.
those.
We're
No,
at the 45th parallel.
Dan, if I had a
Don't
little
like
bit
it,
more
freaks
time,
like me, stop up here.
You were on my mind, man. Had I had more time, I didn't want to give you that tease, like, hey, I'm in your area, but I can't come see you.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? So like next time we go up there, we're actually talking about going up and doing a camping trip. We spent some time at Petoskey State
Beautiful
Park,
over there.
which is
Right
all
on.
sand dunes, man. And there's actually a campground. And so
There's a campground everywhere in Michigan.
I
This is a
know
good
there's
segue.
so many campgrounds. But you know what's really nice is I would really love to do like I was talking to Becca here and saying we need to come up there and go camping and have ourselves an awesome just weekend of just sand dunes, stone hunting, mining, whatever. And like I would love to pull a whole fucking Groski weekend and do that type of camping trip because that's
Oh,
an
yeah.
excellent
Whoa.
spot. You have the beach, you have the dunes, and not to mention downtown Petoskey and Harbor Springs is within
He's on a
an
roll.
Uber's drive away. There's no Ubers up there. What am I
How
talking
far of a
about?
drive is this for sequence?
It's a long way.
It's a
But
bit
anyway,
of a trek.
5 hours.
4.5. Yeah. It took us most of the day to get home. We left
Yeah.
Petoskey at 11 a.m. Got back into the Jackson, Irish Hills area by like 6:30. We did stop in Lansing for some dinner. But that only took like 45 minutes, an hour. Otherwise, it's most of the day of driving. And
Well,
All right,
plus,
all right. Hold on. Give me a chance here. I was gonna say it's a good segue because you wanted to go camping and stuff. We got a booth. The
Yes.
show got a booth at the event in
Yes.
Luzerne, which is up in Dan's neck of the woods, July 23rd and 24th. So
Can I
we
get
can
a
start
yeah, man?
hyping it up and stuff.
We got a
We're gonna-
booth.
yeah, man.
Groski's like me and Spartan and all these guys will be up there vending, smoking, having some fun. So you can see us up there. Hopefully we're gonna have 2 booths. We're working on that.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
be in there like red swimwear.
It's a fun event, guys.
And that's a camping event, Red.
yeah.
let me know these details on if we're gonna have any panelist product on there or if I should get my
Yes.
own table
Yes.
because I
Yeah,
might
we
Get
will.
just
those
Oh,
tapestries
jump in
ready,
on that.
baby.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
I will. Dude, just all kinds of whatever, man. Just
Yeah.
let's do it.
Red.
Man.
Red's excited now. He's
Yes,
twirling his
I'm gonna get a
headphone cord.
canopy
Look at him.
too.
Should I have Rainbow Driver clones available? That
I'm gonna
sounds
get
like
a
something I should
canopy
totally
too.
do.
Yeah.
We don't get sunned out.
Super
And then-
purple girls gone wild in a canopy. I also have professional all white canopy pro grade we can use. It has sides and the whole 9 if needed or necessary. I have a couple canopies. So we could have a whole compound over here.
They're asking for location sequence.
I'm trying to find it on Instagram.
All right.
Luzerne.
It's up in Luzerne, which is
That Big Wolf Lodge.
yeah.
That's where you guys were last year, right?
Yeah, we were there twice last year. There was 2 really good events we were at. We didn't have a booth, but this year we shall. So if you want to come hang out with us, sesh with us, pick up some Michigan Bros merch, we'll be there.
Yeah, man. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm glad you guys can hang in here. Sequence has found the link. There we go.
This is the place.
Likes by Tara Wilson.
Tara's in on this.
Yeah.
She got a camper for it now. She's straight.
Tara's getting her camper ready right now.
That's a
Yeah,
can of
she
camper,
is.
isn't it? Yeah.
So we were there last year. It was nice. We actually, so we could talk about our time
we
there,
got
I
that.
guess.
Croptober.
Yeah, we were there and we had the guy pull up and asked us if we had like some enormous quantity of weed on us. We're like, no.
8 pounds there from like Ohio. Nothing
Yeah, it was
bad.
like from Ohio or something, and he wanted like 150 pounds or something. He was driving like a Dodge Ram.
Then
Like,
they
I
pull
don't know
out
if
this-
you're in the right neighborhood, guy.
They
When
pull
they
out this
stopped-
big old PGR bud. Remember that? We want
Yeah.
it to look like this, he said.
Yeah.
We're like, man, we're just mids over here, bro.
Yeah, we're just butt chugging mids right now,
We have aspirations.
but we're dreaming. C Dub from NorCal says, "Was it Jack Greenstock?"
No. Okay.
What?
No.
They sully
It's
my
not
friend's
Jack.
name. It's not Jack.
Ohio. Jack's the only guy from Ohio I know. No.
He was a very Ohio-looking white guy. Let's put it that way.
I didn't
Oh,
even
Jack
see
or the
him.
guy
It
in
was
the
this
in the
old
Dodge
lady.
Ram?
The guy in the Ram.
Okay.
He stayed at the Ram and sent his woman.
Ooh, Prescribed Burn asks, what are the most affordable microbes? And I bet that's making them yourself somehow.
Homemade ones, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the ones out in your yard.
So IMO probably.
Castings?
I would say an IMO collection because you can do it way faster than you could turn around castings.
As far as buying them, though, can anybody say anything that lasts longer than recharge? That shit goes
Recharge.
forever.
Yeah.
I'm still working on the same bag.
It smells good too, which is something you can't say for everything you use in an organic garden.
Photosynthesis
right
plus.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it
use
stains everything. I have
It
recharged
does.
finger. Like
I use
Oh,
Culture
always permanently
Biologic.
recharged. I
It
can't get
does.
it out.
It does stain shit. That's 100% right. It is a pain in the fucking ass to clean it up. If you can get it right away with some water and like dilute it down, you can get it clean. But it's a fucking pain in the ass.
I used to use something called Organism XL too, like Oregon and then ISM, Organism XL. It wasn't
Hey,
that expensive. That was good stuff.
I got some I think it was OG BioWar or OG something like that on a the day after Thanksgiving. I got a ridiculous, like a pound or a ridiculous amount of microbes that I've been working on for like 2 years. It's like a dry.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I mean, it'll last me probably another 2 years. And I got it for a crazy deal. And I think they do it every single day after Thanksgiving. So if you're looking for like a dry microbe product, wait till the day after Thanksgiving. Those Black Friday sales, man, you can really stretch your dollar there.
420 sales are coming, guys.
If 420 is the next best, yeah, that's the next best deal. Usually is 420.
Yeah, I'm not trying to bad mouth any products, but there were a few that were mentioned that they did do some lab testing on in Oregon and found out that the CFUs weren't exactly what they claimed to be on the label. But I know that they also did some
Yeah, fill us in,
like
man.
heat shock. What's that?
I want to hear who's not as
Yeah,
advertised.
we like the truth here.
Well, I remember off the top of my head, I would have to pull up the report again. I know that Tad from Kiss Organics shared it, and basically what it said that was the CFUs that were on some of these labels aren't necessarily totally accurate. You know, it says like 250,000 CFUs of trichoderma or whatever, and it might not necessarily be that.
Sequence and pure pressure.
I didn't remember Recharge being on there or being tested by them, but I do remember OG BioWar was one of them, and a lot of them did not fare as well as the label claimed.
The sunglasses come back cool.
Oh yeah, the sunglasses hide my fadedness. Actually, the mouthpiece keeps you from coughing. Even I'm really curious, Stabby, when if you can get a hold of that so we can see it. That like made my mouthpiece black in one hit.
I bet it's on Tad Hussey's Instagram page still. You just have to scroll down. I'll look. Like my hands are all greasy from ribs right now. I'm sorry.
Ribs. Cheers, high and tight.
Ribs are great reason.
Brad, this Rainbow Driver is very, very good, my friend. It is finally dry enough to smoke.
Dude, I'm actually kind of ecstatic. I was kind of caught off guard by that compliment or by that comment. I was actually messaging somebody really fast, but I have a tiny little baggie of some right in front of me. That's about all that is like a decent smokable form. This is probably from my last batch. I think it was just kind of kicking around. It's had this whole like tray of just random baggies chilling on my coffee table. Like, you know, I'd pack a baggie to like take to the farm with me or take off for the day with, and then come back and like half little baggie and just kind of gets tossed in this thing for like the salad mix. You know what I mean? And then just haven't gotten to it in a little while. So I got a nice little bit of Rainbow Driver that I'm actually planning for the show, Scobo. So
it just gives me flashbacks seeing that little pill bag of fucking weed. I don't know what year it is, like man. That? Yeah,
it's amazing. I still have these.
Ain't lady, you know what it is too, don't you? She's like, I don't deal with that.
I have stock of them, not even for cannabis, and it usually ends up all my like personal cannabis ends up going in it. I use them for like all kinds of business cards and just giveaways and stuff like that. Toss some business cards and some hash and some stuff like that in there. But yeah, man, I love the little old school little 8 zip bags. I mean, these things are terrible to store cannabis in, especially if it's a high limonene product. I mean, that's limonene is just a solvent and just eats through plastic, so you really don't want to use it. But you know, for what personal stash, whatever, it's just my own head stash, so I'll just kind of have it in there. Have it in there, degrading, converting, whatever it's going to do, change the effects. It's all experimental.
Degrading.
I like the way that when Spartan had a story or a
You
video,
shitty
I
bud.
can't remember what it was, where he was trying to de-seed the bud, and he had it on the tray, and he was like, okay, so what I did is I put a pillow under my knees, and then I fucking just started drumming on the trim bin, and all of the seeds fall down to the bottom. He was like, that's the easy way to start getting them out of there.
Yeah, dude. I mean, now that I've done a whole
I remember
fucking
those.
plant's worth, I figured out now the next
Holy
time-
shit, that's fucking.
I mean-
She's not even moving, Captain.
I remember
Yeah,
picking
that's-
up a pack and having to do that just so
Fun.
that my own patients wouldn't be disappointed in the level of seeds, man. The way that some of the shit used to come through.
Yeah, I'm not gonna rain on your parade, Spartan, but I did want to bring that up tonight because I've made lots of seeds myself and I've shucked lots myself, and that is the slowest way to do it. I mean, it is the best quality control method. If you're individually plucking them out, you'll see right then and there if it's a good or bad seed. Or you can, do the squish test or whatever you prefer. But if I could make a suggestion, if you're not trying to salvage the bud, or maybe you are going to salvage it, but you just have it like processed by a buddy or squished by a buddy or something like that, take it all, dry it out super dry. You can even freeze it. Get yourself a 5-gallon bucket and like a paint mixing paddle and a drill, and just buzz that shit right up, break it all up. And there are a lot of blueprints out there for like winnowing machines, but like you could do it with some cardboard boxes and a literally a box fan, just by pouring the material past and just sort of separating the chaff from the wheat.
That's pretty good advice there.
Yeah, I
don't like it.
I don't like the idea of freezing the seeds.
Well,
Wintering them. There you go.
Yeah, overwintering is something that a lot of
Yeah,
seeds need anyway.
that happens in nature, man.
Yeah.
Some seeds won't sprout without overwintering, even cannabis seeds.
Yeah. The thing you don't want to happen is moisture to get in there. So as long as it's super dry, you don't have to worry about moisture getting into the seeds, unless you got like a damp freezer or something, you know what I mean?
Well, I was thinking more, I guess they could spore. I was thinking more the microbes on the shell casings from the parent plant. I'd like to have that transfer to the...
Some hippy dippy shit.
Well, I think the microbes would live.
You're going to be introducing microbes when you're growing the plant, right?
They live in space. They're going to live in the freezer for however long.
Where are microbes hippy dippy? For one, that's scientific.
Well, no, okay. The good microbes are going to go dormant anyway. And are you saying like some sort of
what I'm saying is I understand that they would go dormant if they were dried out, yes, but what I'm saying is if I do it my way, they do not dry out, moisture is retained, and then maybe I can transfer the microbe, keep it alive enough to where when it's germinated, it will still make that symbiotic relationship with the new plant. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, that's a double-edged sword, though. What if there's some sort of virus that you could be killing off from the mother plant by doing
a virus has got to have something to be living on. So I mean, it's gonna have to have a like a living cell for it to be infected into, to persist, through a shell or whatever. Unless it's already in the seed, but if that case, there's nothing I can do about that anyway.
You wouldn't want to fuck with it anyway, right?
Yeah, it's already in there. I'm saying there's nothing I'm gonna be able to do to avoid it.
I like that, Red. Well, the thing that my opinion on this is that in nature, and I know that nature doesn't apply to the garden all the time, blah, 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 but your seeds fall on the ground and they freeze and then they sprout the next year. And that's how that works.
Ash time.
But, and the microbes live and all of that stuff too. So that's a thing. They live through space. They live through every layer of our atmosphere. They live on the space station. They live on asteroids.
Well, I agree. Some
Microbes run
microbes. Not
Tardigrades.
all. It's not like you're saying it's like all humans. It's not. It's no. It's. I mean, there's specific microbes that can survive. Yes, not all of them.
I don't know, man. I don't even add microbes. So I'm very sterile in that aspect, I guess. And I know that they're still
There you
there.
go. You heard it here first. Sequences running sterile.
Yeah.
No, he's not. He's got 2 kids.
Yeah, exactly.
But he might be now. I don't know. Did you get fixed?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Nipped, clipped, and dipped.
Probably
Ah,
I guess it makes you still broken.
I probably should.
I haven't ran any microbes in a long time. My indoor. I haven't ran microbes in a very long time. I probably should get back into it, but
I want
thought
to
you had the
try it
Tribus.
for
You
a
were
run
using
again.
Tribus.
I have tried. Yeah, I barely ever used my Tribus. I use it here and there when I inoculate. That stuff's so old. I have to get back into it. It's expensive, man. Like, I know it's part of the regiment, but it's still expensive. You know, a couple $100 a bottle. I mean, yeah, I could use it and be, you know, a little bit will go a really long way, and it'll be worth. It'll pay for itself, and I know all of that stuff. But the upfront cost is still expensive. And if I can get good,
It's like,
heavy
dude, I
results,
see
getting-
results without microbes.
That's what I mean. I'm still getting.
Like,
I'm
a
getting
lot.
results without it, and you know, I put them in it, and it might.
And I'm sure there's some
But, like,
microbes in there, right? In the
I don't know.
median and all that anyway.
Let's say you guys use microbes every time you touch your plant.
Right. And that we're not watering with a super high ppm either. So I think that helps our cause in that nature. So
Like if
We
I
use a lot of
grow
microbes.
shop, I'll avoid the grow shop. I mean, it's the last place I really want to buy anything from, to be honest. It's
We use
just-
a lot of microbes,
I
but
love my
I
grow
also
shop,
feed.
but
I'm sorry, Red,
no, go ahead, man.
but I also feed a bottled organic nutrient line really heavily. So I use the microbes to help break down any of that excess buildup that I might have in my pot. You know.
I think that's very true that organic uses the microbe a lot
Yeah.
more.
I also use enzymes to help keep my root zone clean. You know,
I'm gonna start doing that, Dan. I'm gonna
I-
start
I-
using pond cleaner.
there you go.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I like to save all my microbes. I guess I could say we like to keep all our old pots, old soil.
We've got tons of microbes.
Yeah, try to use stuff as long as we can without fucking with it.
Sequence. Read the ingredients on that pond cleaner. If it's like a dry powdered one, I bet it has barley in it.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Is most of them are just barley extract, and that's what they use as the enzyme. Yep, and it's actually I was just kind of a joke as pond cleaner, but it's actually a very frugal way to get enzymes. Bees, you can come help with the koi pond, dude. I still want to do that. Me and Abolished, we're gonna do a koi pond. I'll dig the hole.
You gonna have a waterfall with it too, man? Like a pump?
Yeah, dude. Whatever.
Hell yeah.
We were
We
kind of
gotta make
talking.
it deep enough so that the
Dude,
koi can survive all year. That's
You
my
got
goal.
that spot right at the side though, off the deck that'll drop right in there. Be perfect.
Whatever.
We
But we
also
gotta put a
gotta-
koi pond in.
We also got to decide if
I'll help you put it in.
you're going to have the fire department come out and pump it every 10 years, or do you want to set it up to where it's going to last forever?
Really pump it.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
how
it's
big
gonna
do you
get-
think he's gonna make this pond into your house, bro?
It's going to get nasty, dude, if you make a big one after so long.
I should be
Pump
able
it usage.
to. I mean, ideally, it's not more than a few hundred gallons. I don't know how many hundreds of gallons fit in like an 8-foot deep koi pond.
I got an idea. How about fuck that idea? How about just do
Holy
some
shit,
drops?
8 feet is a deep motherfucker too.
Well, it's got to be deep enough that it won't freeze because they
Yeah.
will die.
They got to go deep enough. Yep, you're right.
You
No,
bring them
they will
inside and
survive in Michigan. I have read on it. I have looked this up. Trust me.
That way it doesn't freeze solid.
Yeah, this is
Somewhere.
a thing that can happen. You just got to have an air stone, so that the water won't freeze solid. The water won't freeze on top. As long as the water doesn't freeze on top, you'll have oxygen exchange, and they will survive all winter long.
My
Talk about
friend's
that. Moving water
mother-in-law
doesn't
did
freeze
that.
easy.
She had like a whole Japanese themed yard, and she had a koi pond and a bridge and everything, but it wasn't
Hell
8
yeah.
it wasn't 8 feet deep, I can tell you that much.
I'm gonna
And
do it.
and I was always like, why the fuck isn't it freezing in the winter?
Maybe she has kind of heater.
Yeah,
water
she could have.
I
Keeping it
can't
low.
remember.
So check this out. What they do now on lakes, rather than pulling boat lifts and docks, is they have aerators that you can now put in front of
Throw 'em in the middle.
front of your house. And so there's actually whole sections of like my we have lakefront property, and my dad said that like you can't even go walk out on the ice anymore in the wintertime because a whole entire section of the lake is completely clear all winter long, and there's like 2 feet of ice in the middle of the lake. You know what I mean? And in front of everybody's
Right.
property, you can't even walk out onto the ice.
Yeah, and that's what you would put in a koi. It's basically just a bubbler, and that's all you need, and it just keeps it.
You just circulate the water. You're just keeping it moving, and it moving doesn't allow it. I mean, well, it's always moving, but it moving enough, and the oxygen and everything doesn't allow it to freeze.
If you could just do a recirculating pump that like pumps up to a little mini res that's like goes waterfalls back down in, just falling through the air.
That's it right there.
And we koi
Waterfalls
pond past
may
hash
work.
time.
I already hit it. I'm so high right
I
now.
wonder if the
We already said
waterfall
hash time at hash time.
may
I just
Did you?
didn't ring any
Very
bells
good.
because you were talking.
I gave a little hash time, but I don't know.
I heard you.
Hey, I want to go back to
I
Painted
missed
Lady
it, but
showed
I'm high
us
as hell.
that really kick-ass plant that she was working with there. Show us that little beauty again.
Oh, I found out that the cannabis thing is not over yet, thanks to Opie. And
Oh, there you
shout
go.
out
You're
to
still in it.
shout out to all the caribou guys who are in chat tonight. I see a bunch of them out there, and there's caribou right there. Shout out to Caribou and Uncle Rick and Prophet and all those guys I see in chat. And Opie reached out to me and said that it's not over till April 30th. So look,
Caribou, do you
Yes.
guys happen to have?
It's so symmetrical. It's pretty.
got a little swagger,
the
doesn't
Ripper.
she?
I
She's
know
starting
they
to
reached out
get
to
a
me.
little fade.
Yeah.
That is awesome. And
But-
that's not a
You know what?
Solo cup.
April Fool's. That's not an April Fool's trick where you just took a top and stuck it in a solo cup either, right? That's nice.
Looks like a fucking
little-
ganja
Hell
sword,
no.
doesn't it?
Look at
Looks like
that.
a beautiful
Wow.
sword.
Get out.
Get off. Someone get
Yeah.
off, you
That's
painted
awesome.
lady.
That is
We've been
fucking
watching
cool.
it grow for like 2 months.
I know.
That's
But
a really good solo cup grow right there. That's all.
That's a
bud.
fantastic. If I
Yeah.
was doing one and I
How
did
many
that,
joints do
I'd
you
be
think that
stoked.
is now? We were joking that it was 2 before.
Shit, that might be an ounce.
Dude, that's like an ounce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is good.
getting heavy. I think she's probably an ounce.
That's that
I think
sea
she's
green
gonna
You
be
could
an
probably
ounce.
go another 2 weeks. You could probably go easily
Yeah.
go another 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and
Take
maybe
it
to
we'll
the
stack
30th.
more up.
I'll
Yep.
send you some pictures, Penny Lady. I did some solo cup grow offs or whatever a few years ago, and your plant kicked my ass. That looks great.
Yeah, we didn't do
Really?
it.
Well,
Yeah.
thanks. You know what? She's got a little junk in her trunk.
yeah.
I like how she's like putting on the weight now. So yeah, and the structure. Yeah, have a couple of these JTRs in. What do I have them in? Like 3 gallons right now, and it's the same structure. This crazy Christmas tree structure is phenomenal for like tent growers. I'm sure Ross Jeff's going to be releasing this, or did he already? I can't remember.
Is that one that's real skunky smelling too? Is that what
Yeah,
that
it's real skunky and real lemony.
Painted
Like,
lady,
I think that's
Uncle Rick
exactly
wants
what
to
you
see
want.
your root zone again.
What?
Uncle Rick wants to see the root zone again.
Of course he wants to.
Thank
He wants
you.
to see your bottoms.
He wants to see the bottoms there.
Yeah.
That don't even look root bound. That's
No,
pretty
not
cool.
at all.
You know,
Put it
I
around.
didn't. I really didn't push her that much. I really didn't feed her all like. I really didn't feed her that much.
Dave
So-
said it comes out 420.
I think you did it
Sweet.
perfect. I wouldn't complain at all. Look
No.
at that thing.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. So yeah, she has a couple more weeks before she's done, and
Once you get those fan leaves off, that looks like a pretty easy trim too.
Yeah, not bad at all.
so yeah, I'm happy with her. It was
Nice.
my first one ever, so I thought it was pretty.
That's
That
badass.
worked out. That the structure was great.
First time I did it, I literally got like 2 nugs. I mean, it was like nothing.
Oh, I'd be so heartbroken, man.
No, but it also was just a clone that I would put in the flower room to sex and just left it. So I guess
Forgot about it.
Yeah, so it wasn't really vegged.
Bird wants to know if you butt chugged that solo cup. You didn't do that, right? Because that would have been against the rules, right?
No, I just honestly, I really didn't feed her all that much. And yeah, I really didn't do that much.
You probably could pull it out of the, like you vengeance. You could probably just pulled it out of that cup and then dipped it in your in the water.
So that's that's a small like bound plant in a root ball. What is the smallest plant that all you guys have grown? Personally, I've had fully flowered single top plants shorter than this coffee mug outside. Just scraggly plants that probably weren't going to make it, and I just toss them in the ground for whatever reason. Pluck a few males, maybe some hemp seed or whatever that doesn't really want to take off, or it's in shade of like some tomato plants or something.
That's a
And
sweet
they
ass
might
account.
sprout, and then they might start to flower, and all of a sudden you see one crowning like late July, early August, and all of a sudden you get one bud that grows on top of that. Has anybody else ever experienced
Wow,
that?
look at
you
those.
you just throw a handful of seeds out at the wrong time of year.
Those are
It
fucking
happens
great,
every
man.
time.
Exactly. You get some little tiny little fuckers that just get one little bud on them. Glad you've
Look at
experienced that.
Those are
Skyler.
shot
Those are
glass
fun to have.
size.
Those are
cups.
fucking sweet, dude. That isn't even a real one,
That's
is
awesome.
it? Yep, and you just plug them into the system.
Look at that
Wow.
one. Look at that one in the middle. It's like a
That's a horrible
little
nightmare
bottle.
trim if it was a bigger plant.
Look at that root ball.
damn.
Wow.
I know this isn't the panelists answering your questions, Red, but this is probably the most impressive micro grower I've ever seen. Jack knows this,
Shit.
Jack knows this person's story. They have some sort of a disability, and that's why they grow this way.
Look at that
For a
monster.
physical limitation they have.
Yeah, the plant
It's
looks
28
rough, but
inches.
It's cool.
It's awesome. It really is.
Yeah, but that plant is looking sickly as fuck over.
Well,
She's hungry, man.
Question.
Look at the one on the right.
No, it's clawing. It's
He was
too
about
much nutrient. Like they're overfeeding the fuck out of that thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, that one got overnuded.
Yeah, they're burning the shit out of them.
He grew that one in a beer can. That's awesome, though.
Yeah, fucking that's some crazy. Look, that's some small ass pots for sure. It's kind of cool. That looks like it's
Those
just
are good.
one straight nug all the way up, like no side branches. Just
That's
straight.
the
That one
uniformity
looks
right
beautiful
there.
right there, yeah.
That's the sea of green right
Day
there.
66.
To the extreme. Like all those in a flood tray wouldn't be too bad. You wouldn't have to like sit there and water each one.
No.
That's like a pothole full of green.
Yep, just like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
See,
Wouldn't have
Kelmag,
much leeway
Kelmag,
with that
baby.
little of a plant, though, man. I think it would drive my anxiety crazy. Like
There's a
any
male.
fuck up, it's all over.
Lost you guys.
I lost it in chat now, but somebody asked me if that was from seed, my little JTR. Yes, it was from seed in soil on December 27th.
Very nice. Jack says a difficulty trimming, so they wanted mostly nug. Autos they bred themselves. Very nice. Very cool.
Make your own medicine.
Yeah, I mean, solve your own problems. That's where a lot of breeders came from. Were bigger farmers that were started breeding their own strains that grew better on their terroir, right? Their farm.
So I was watching Caribou this morning, and Indica B was talking. I don't know if he's still in chat, but Indica B was talking about running CO2. I think, and something happened with his CO2, and something wasn't right. And he came home, and his CO2 monitors were all going off, and
Oh,
his
shit.
dogs were not doing well. And thank God his girlfriend had to open the windows before she left for work that day. But I don't know, just a PSA
Keep an
to
eye on your
if you're running
CO2.
CO2, just make sure you're doing it fucking right. Like if you have everything vented right, do you have it vented right? Did you get that done professionally? If not, is that shit right?
Have you
Because
considered mushroom bags?
Right.
just be careful. Just a PSA. I just was like, oh man, I couldn't imagine coming home and like my cats, I would have shit myself. Just like my ashtray the other day, I would have about died.
Do you know if he
So,
was using a tank or a burner, Painted Lady?
I
Sounds like
don't.
burner.
I don't. I was like stoned and half asleep still this morning when I was watching still. So
I was at work, so I was listening, but I don't remember. I think it was a burner. I think it had like a burner. And so it must have
Definitely scary.
just kept running, you know what I mean?
if one of the Caribou guys remembers in chat, I think Beelzebub's still in there. He remembers. Yeah, but
Sounds
yeah,
like
that's really scary. I couldn't imagine.
Sounds like a
This
faulty
furnace
controller.
went into overdrive.
Mine is running at 600 as it is with just my gas appliances down there.
Says it was from negative pressure on his furnace. The fan sucked all the air out. Interesting.
Oh,
Oil furnace went out because the fans
Wild.
sucked air out of the room. That's insane.
oh, I thought he said it was from his CO2.
Wow.
Oh, there he is.
That's
Yeah,
another
Indica's
good.
here.
It's another good reason to have a sealed room. Then you don't have to worry about fans sucking the air out of your.
And
fucking-
Indica, what happened this morning? Give us a chat rundown real quick. We're talking about it. It sounds like, yeah, the fans pulled too much of the air out of the basement, and then it made the furnace go off, and then it filled up with gas.
That
oil
happens when
burner.
it's incredibly cold. My hot water heater goes out. There's a draft in the area, and I have some negative pressure in my house. And during these drafty areas, when it's really, really cold, the air comes in really, I guess, fast. And when it's incredibly cold, for whatever reason, the hot water heater ends up, the pilot goes out. You know, fine most of the other time. Only happens deep, deep winter, deep, deep cold. Could never get it figured out. I always thought it was overusage, hot water. I don't know, but it always seems to sync up with really, really cold days. So I think it's a draft. Yeah, keep an eye on drafty areas around appliances. It's definitely why they have closets and doors and that whole thing. And the doors are usually vented.
Dude, I tell you what, the first thing I would do would have like a carbon monoxide CO2 monitor right there in that bitch, so that doesn't happen again. Be alerting my phone and stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, the first time I ever had like a room, like an AC fail, and went into my room and it was like 140 degrees, I was like, oh my goodness, I could have burned my house down. And then I set it up so that would never happen again with like cameras and alarms and such. And yeah, that's one of those things that I would have lesson learned right there immediately and tried to find. I'm thinking about it now and what I can do to make sure that it doesn't happen to me, that sort of thing.
I'm no HVAC guy or anything, but if you are getting like your burner going out or your element is like the fuse or the breaker or whatever for it is getting tripped, a lot of times that can happen because of like a super cold backdraft or a super hard backdraft. See if your exhaust has like a check valve system in it or of any kind.
Well, if you
That
have a
might be
cold
it.
air return to your basement, make sure it's not
Yeah.
covered. Because that's a good chance. There's a good chance that the air is not coming from your house back into your basement fast enough. It's causing that problem.
If you want to keep smell out from your grow room, I do have cold air returns covered for my grow rooms, but then I have them vented out of the house. They just don't go back, but the rest of the house is vented to the cold air return. So I guess that just increases the amount of flow down through those returns, right?
Yeah, Indica said
There it goes.
that he's got a Nest now, so he can fix it right away now. Good deal, dude. Very scary for sure.
So glad his dogs were okay. That'd have been terrible.
Hell yeah, man! I can't even. My dog is
Sorry.
laying in my bed right now.
That is
Can't even
scary.
imagine.
Oh, damn it.
I used to
I-
use the CO2 tanks. I don't use those anymore. I'm just using the mushroom bags, and I mean that usually gets me between 600 to 800 ambient usually up in there, and that's good enough for me. And I don't have to worry.
I had
about
pretty
like
good luck
that.
with the same bags. These bags, shout out guys.
Yeah.
See, I never did run any CO2 supplementation when I would flower at my house. I would only just run ambient. And I never really ran anything higher than HPS, like 1,000 watt HPS anyways, but I still probably could have used it. for the 1,000 watts. But I just never did.
Well, like what a lot of people don't realize is ambience actually spikes pretty high when you're just like in your house moving around.
Yeah, in your grow room especially.
Yeah, blowing farts in there, whatever you do.
Yeah, I have a monitor, and I would have it in my grow room, and I would notice that if I was in there for even 10 minutes, it would go up to 8,000-9,000 or more, and I'd be like, whoa. And then if I was in there for very long and my room was basically sealed, didn't have a lot of extraction, it would get high enough I would start getting dizzy, and I'd have to leave the room, which is very interesting. It kind of goes back to that old adage, right? If you talk to your plants, they do better. And I always thought that it was because you paid more attention to them, or you were pruning them more, or looking for pests more, and all of that is true. But I think it's CO2 as well.
I actually think that's a huge component of it. You breathing on the plant. They did some like side-by-side school experiment. Like it was not televised, but they made some documentary about it where they had these plants in these glass cases, and the students were supposed to compliment one and insult the other and see which one grew better. Well, I would think that the majority of the people would be more likely to compliment the plant than be surrounding the bad plant. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I wouldn't assume there'd be. I mean, maybe after detention or whatever, there's a group of boys around the bad plant, but otherwise, I would think that the good plant would just naturally get more attention. So
it's an interesting thing in people. I think that people look for excuses to be shitty. So I think that they would be bad to the plant just because they could, especially kids. But anyway,
we've all seen those kids that are like swinging from a tree in a parking lot. You know what I mean? Like breaking shit. You're like, oh,
dude, I was a kid. I was
man.
bad for just to be bad.
I've been beating up on the trees, man.
I'm not better than whoever else. I broke.
Cheers, Red. What the fuck are you drinking, bro? Is that like some kind of poison or something?
Just like fermented apples.
It looked like a frog in a
there's a brewery up in Petoskey. This is downtown Petoskey. This is not Petoskey Brewery.
Beards?
It says 1/2 gallon on
Beards
there.
Brewery. Yeah, this is a 1/2 gallon growler. Picked up a little growler to sustain through the weekend. Nice dry cider, semi-dry cider. Pretty clear. Still got a little bit of carbonation left. 2 days.
You can drink and still have dry mouth.
You can actually
extremely dry.
You can actually walk around, I believe, downtown Petoskey with
open growlers,
covered beers. Yeah, they cover your beer for you. But yeah, you can walk around with full beers, drinking on the street.
Interesting.
Too bad they wouldn't let you walk around with cannabis.
Right. Wait, where's the?
One day we can
We're
only
getting
hope.
there.
One day
What's the first town going to be?
See,
Ann
right.
Arbor.
Of course.
Yeah,
100% going to be Ann Arbor, right?
Yeah, it has to
You
be.
can just walk down the street.
The leader.
let's shoot countywide. Let's go Washtenaw County again with that one. The Washtenaw County has been pretty darn progressive lately.
I mean,
I would agree.
Let me ask you a question. Who listening to this has not walked down the street smoking a joint? Unless you just live somewhere crazy, you've walked somewhere smoking a joint.
Hash Bash is cool because you can
That's not
walk
smoking
towards
joint.
Hash Bash and people are smoking on their porch with bongs and dabs and
You accomplish 2 tasks at once,
Getting somewhere and getting
Yes.
some.
exercising.
So
Exercising.
the very first High Times Cup that had recreational, seems like forever ago now, but whatever, whichever one that
Long
was,
rip.
2 years ago, 3
Let me
years
bring
ago.
the spell for sequence. There you go. Get it, big guy.
And they had
New
the
filter.
ridiculous 4-hour line. So the line was out on the street, like out of the parking lot.
You talking
all way
about
out
the
on
line where
street.
you and Skilbo stood in
It's
front?
down.
And fucking
Was it that one?
no, this wasn't
It wasn't.
Clio. This wasn't the one. Yeah,
That's not the same one.
this
Okay.
was the one that I was like in line for 4 hours or whatever. But
Ooh, the
yeah,
Saturday shows.
I was on the street smoking in line, sharing with a couple guys behind me, and they were freaking out because they were from Ohio. And I'm like, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. I convinced them to smoke with me. And then a cop drives by. And they were like scared shitless. But the
They're
cop
like,
just
they're
drove
coming
by.
for you, man.
Yeah.
Give me your weed. They're coming. I'll hold it for you.
Dude, they know you're hot.
Yeah,
I
I
have been
remember standing in
hassled.
that line. There was some kids, man. They had this backpack.
You want
They
to touch it about it?
turned around backwards and flipped open it. It was just full of weed. They were walking through the line all the way down Dort Highway trying to sell that stuff. That was pretty awesome.
That's one hit out of that song. One hit.
Fuck.
That's
The only time I've ever
unbelievable.
actually I shouldn't say it this way. I have been harassed one time, but it hasn't. It was not by much of anybody with any authority. You know, little street festival going on downtown Ann Arbor. Bands playing. There's a beer tent. Open consumption of alcohol. People are blatantly yelling and in this wide open tent, no sides on the tent or anything, just one of those like little orange fences to keep people from like going over it or anything, right? Right on the middle of like, I don't know, Washington Ave or whatever it was. Bands are playing, everyone's having a good time. I'm on the other side of this tent, kind of in between slightly in an alley, in front of a couple businesses, stuff like that, and the side of a couple businesses, and I'm just kind of casually smoking with a couple friends, and a guy on the other side of the street, a decent ways away, kind of sees the thing, and he's got a couple little boys in some baseball caps, and they all kind of look like maybe we're downtown getting some ice cream or something after a baseball game or something, and you kind of mentioned something about the smell and it like not being appropriate because there's families and kids and stuff around, and I didn't even say anything about the fact that there was belligerent activities, the beer tent that they were pretty much walking through. Didn't mention any of that stuff, nor the fact that the kids were probably too young to know the difference between a joint and a cigarette, or the smell or anything like that. I just, shrugged my shoulders and, let him be on his way just the same. But that's probably the only real hassles. And I mean, I apologize for offending anybody with my cannabis smell, but at the same respect, I mean, we all do offensive things. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know how. I mean, do you respond that way to cigarette smokers? Do you respond that way to
fart
people
on the
You weren't doing it
elevator?
in the
Brad?
middle
Yeah,
of
do you
Tiki,
respond that way to
it's
people who
just all
fart?
depends
Like, I'm
situationally.
curious. So, I mean, I don't know. It's, I guess, pick and choose your battles, but at the same respect, I as long as I'm not impeding on, what I think is like nobody's truly like getting. I guess if you smell it, I don't know. What are the odds that somebody's actually getting an effect if they smell it from across the street or anything like that? Am I harming them? I don't know. Are they gonna fail a drug test? What's the science behind this? Is there anything that somebody should be concerned about? Am I being
No, I don't think
The
that anyone would
olfactory
fail or anything.
offensiveness.
Am I just being too passive or am I being not passive enough?
Well,
or
I have
something?
I'm a parent, so I have like the parent perspective, right? So like if my kids were out playing in the front yard and stuff, and if they knew what you were doing, and if you knew that they knew what you were doing, then it would be like a different thing. You know
That's
what I mean?
that's what I'm thinking. Right. And obviously,
But that's really the only thing.
If I even knew that they were walking by, and honestly, I mean, it was one of those things where like even during the time, like I do a lot of cupping and I do a lot of like I'll smoke.
Dude, if it's people walking down the road, whatever. Like smoke.
I make sure I'm not
fucking
like
property.
I don't do shit like that. If it's roaching,
like care about your neighbors.
Yeah,
but like people walking down the road, fuck those people. Like
Yeah, right. You handled it right, dude. It's like
Yeah,
you
just let
weren't
it go.
smoking
That's
in
all
the
you
middle
do.
of a damn Chuck E. Cheese or anything. You were at a beer tent, a festival there.
Exactly. I mean, in my viewpoint, it was all a 21 and over type of a gathering, anyways. That was my view on the whole thing. It was an adult event. It was an adult. Granted, it was in a family oriented area. There's apartments and all that, but it was in a section
get
of
your
down.
panties in a bunch.
It's in a section of down. It's in the bar.
Were you guys
section
smoking
downtown.
down in fucking McDonald's ball pit or what?
You just gotta let
Never,
definitely,
absolutely
just
not.
ignore them.
That's exactly what.
Yes, I blew smoke in your child's face. Exactly what I did.
Yeah. So
exactly, and I said "F you," and then I offered it. No, I'm kidding.
People I like your shirt, man.
This
gotta throw that out there. I like the waves you got going.
This is
It looks like you got dipped in oil.
I know. I like it, man.
It's pretty sweet.
Psychedelica.
New
Stay
type of
tuned for
tie-dye.
Polarity Science at 11:20 p.m. on the
Yeah, we'll
Polarity
go live
Science
at
channel.
11:20. I think I have it all figured
That's a
out.
good way to do a segue for you, Rat.
Thank you, Scobo. I just have to redo what I did earlier, which I think I can do.
Cascading asks an interesting question. How do you test the genetics of cannabis now without the stigma of phylos?
Smoke it all.
Is the trust in the community blown forever? It's a very interesting topic, I think. I'm someone that hunts out prized genetics, so stuff like GMO, apple fritter, wedding cake, whatever, right? Cuts that have a name and they're supposed to come from a place like Mac. And all of that comes on the respect factor of the people that you get it from, and knowing that those people are really passionate the same way that I am and getting the right stuff, right? And that goes back to like the people that started breeding cannabis way back, all the way back to the original days. That's kind of the essence of the plant. So I don't think you necessarily need a thing like phylos to be able to tell us what is what. I think that there's always going to be people that care a lot about what they have, but it is really hard to find certain genetics like skunk or northern lights or anything that is actually what it's supposed to be, right? Because you have to have that community or those people that you can trust, and that's really hard. So it's a difficult thing. There's like a lot of give and take there. What do you guys have any opinions on that stuff? You can always get away from this by just popping seeds and you know what you have, but then you're trusting that those parents are what they said they were, and et cetera, et cetera.
I think it's interesting that you brought up Northern Lights because he just got some Northern Lights seeds. Cascadian did, so that's funny. But I think that's really the crux of it all. Is, I mean, I guess I'm reading more into it than what was said, but it sounds to me it's like he wanted, like, for example, what Phylos was offering was like a genetically backed or DNA backed fingerprint.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well,
Something that couldn't be argued, something
yeah.
that wasn't somebody's word, wasn't, you know what I mean? That's what
They can test your clone and say that you have OG Kush or whatever.
Yes.
To that, I would reply that Phylos still exists, sadly, and they'll still do that stuff. So
well, there's another organization too. What the hell is it called? Like Medicinal Genomics or something like that. And that guy is way more on the up and up that
I was just watching him yesterday.
Yeah, and
Jack knows who he is. Jack pointed to me.
Yeah, I would lean more towards his company. And I mean, there's still people, and yeah, you're risking, like in his question too, is like, does nobody trust anymore? And you can't control what everybody else does. All you can do is control what you do. So
it's an impossible thing. So
yeah.
like what Phylos was doing was going to get monetized no matter what. Like there's so much money in that idea that was going to happen, and that's just the sad fact of it.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is like, if that's something that you personally, I'm not just saying you specifically or Cascadian or anybody, but if that's something anybody specifically truly believes in, and that's what they want is that fingerprint, then I would suggest you find a company you feel you can trust and align yourself with them and stick with them, because all the information you have that you can give them makes them that more legitimate.
Yeah, they used blockchain to give the identity, to show the time and the date that this sample was entered and everything else.
For me, the people that I got like wedding cake from, I trust that person gave me wedding cake like as much as I would trust a test result from any company. And that's really all that I personally need.
Right.
And
at the end of the day,
that's not enough for everybody.
At the end of the day, your name is on this though. Like we all know people in this community that have done some spurless things. And we all know those stories because everybody bandies them about. So you're only as good as your name in this.
Yeah, and we're all people, right? And we want to have good names and we want to stay around in the community. And so we're not bullshitting people and lying about all of these things.
But really, in the end, this gives me like the slimy feeling, because just having the ability to fingerprint something and saying this exact thing is this such a thing means, okay, now we're going to get patents. Now we're going to get, and here we go, patenting a plant, which I think is not good. So
That's where we got some interesting data, like Orange Velvet's Tangy, I believe. So like famous cuts are like this and that, like learning that
Yeah.
Headband was
Maybe,
OG
but maybe
Kush
they're
came from
not.
there.
Maybe somebody got past the wrong clone, which got put in as the wrong data, which shows up
Maybe.
as, you know what I mean? It's
Maybe.
very hard to know the provenance.
So if that's the case, though, like that
Skibbo,
same
say
thing
that sexy
applies
word again.
even more
Provenance.
to everything
One more
that
time
I'm
for the
saying,
audience,
right?
please.
It's provenance, I think, anyway.
I like it.
Hey, man.
I'm just kind
Pretty
of
sure.
I'm just kind of poking here, and I'm just trying to get at it. Is like what I've always said for a long time. I don't give a fuck what the name of the strain is. Just let me smoke the
Is it
weed,
dank? Yeah,
and I'll
man.
tell you if I like it or not. And if I like it a lot, I'm gonna ask you for a cut. Other than that, I don't give a
Right.
fuck. What you can call it, whatever the fuck you want to call it. I don't care. You can have any kind of fingerprint that goes with it. You want to go with it. I think it's all just bullshit. Just let me try it, and if I like it, I'll ask for a cut. I don't know any more straightforward thing than that.
I mean, like, I like knowing that I have apple fritter, right, in my garden, and it's something that like people like and want to have. But at the same time, as if it doesn't grow and it's not good, it won't be in the garden for very long. Like, but I'll figure that out. But at the same time, I like that I have that. I like that I have runts and I can try it and see if it is cool. If it is what everybody says it is, then it's going to be a really cool thing that I have in the garden, right? So it's like an interesting thing.
Well,
Some of these hype things are really disappointing, for sure.
I like what you just said there. Like, if it really is runts, you know, and it's funny because like the whole thing, it's like if Phylos like was like, it would be cool to actually have like a trusted source to be able to like know if runts is really runts. Like, what do you actually have? Like, it's a great.
I'm pretty sure
in theory,
runts
it's an
is
awesome.
Lotto.
It's an awesome idea, you know, to be able to like data or to be able to like genome track to see how close it is to like all, you know, like if I have a dozen strains in my collection, I don't want to have all the same stuff like sitting on the same portion of the map. You know, if you look at that map and you think of like the way it's graphed out and it being like in different areas of this universe, you know, like I don't want everything grouped like in the same thing. I want it like in different portions of this genetic pool, meaning that there's going to be a wide variance in different cannabinoid traits and terpene traits.
Is that how you picked your strains, Red?
That is kind of how I do, yeah.
Yeah, when you naturally smoke strains, do you find, like, I bet Skilbo, if he just smoked strains and picked them for medicinal reasons, they would have a very similar terpene range.
I'd imagine
they kind of did for a while too.
Yeah.
Man.
Yep,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? So like you do get into like this category by like nature for what you like or what works.
Well, as a caregiver, I want to have the whole spectrum.
Right. And that's a whole different
availability.
Like, exactly.
Right. So, and my personal choice will linger. And I might have and
like,
it's funny
like
because
or I like
the majority of stuff that I grow is actually stuff that I don't even smoke. You know what I mean? I smoke one or two straight. It's usually just right now it's Citrique. All I'm smoking is Citrique. I have a little bit of Rainbow Driver in the bowl because we got this little bit of bong. Scope say smoking some Rainbow Driver. We're going to smoke some Rainbow Driver tonight. Typically, if I don't have Citrique, it's Rainbow Driver. If I don't have Rainbow Driver, it's Flow. If I don't have Flow, it's Death Star. You know, and it's down that sativa line as close to the indica scale as I can get. Usually fluttering with the Death Star and then back up that sativa scale.
Nobody is surprised by that.
I say sativa only because I'm just shooting stimulating effect. Obviously, these are cannabis with terpene profiles that are in like the citrus pine and probably some terpenoline profile. You know, these are
you're not doing this talking on Gorilla Glue, that's for sure.
Exactly, you know, or heavy OG Kush or something like that. We're gonna be fruity pebbles or some Girl Scout cookies, you know, any of those heavy ones. I think that even supposedly caryophyllene is meant to have a little bit of a stimulating effect to it. So any of the really peppery, which Death Star kind of has that peppery fragrance in my mind. The Death Star cut that I hold has it. That I've always thought originally was really kind of peppery. Need to pull a terpene profile on that. So that's just kind of what I mean. Like,
I love that strain, dude.
And I had a black domino that was black peppery as shit that a buddy of mine used to grow. It was fucking fantastic. And then when I had black domino, mine was more of the burnt rubber style. So
remember the first time we met, we smoked a joint of black domino.
Yeah. And some
like
Skywalker before we met. Remember?
Yep, Skywalker. I was growing at the time, and then it hermed. Got rid of that right away. I was growing blueberry headband. Got rid of that too.
I had ninja fruit, and what else did I have? Dude, it gets so hard to remember what the fuck you had like 2 years ago.
I've grown some cool stuff, man. Maui Wowie, LA Confidential.
I can't remember now. I'm trying to think of what it was. Oh, I had some. No, that was later on. Damn. I was like, I had some Queen White Haze. No, that was later on. So
I love how you
didn't
didn't.
remember.
At first, you didn't even say anything. So like you're just mumbling like a boomer.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
No, the B word.
He
We need
was.
like a boomer shirt. Fuck yeah.
We need a button, like a soundboard.
You say like a boomer
Just
to me.
baked.
I hope you use.
I need baked on the soundboard going boomer.
Mushroom.
Like a boomer.
Boomer like the mushrooms.
Man, that LA Confidential reminds me of this DNA genetics cross that I used to run with.
That's what it's from, I think, isn't
Rocket
it?
Farms.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. It was a DNA genetics and Jack Herrera, I think.
Shit, that's a great cross.
It was called Cough Drops, and I fucking loved it, and nobody liked it. None of my patients liked it, and I loved it. But I stopped running it.
I couldn't grow.
Dude, LA Confidential was like straight medicine when I first got my card.
No.
I loved it.
You hated yours, but I've had some really good shit too, man.
Dude, you got to be growing some dog shit to not even like your own weed. Dude, my stuff was bad back then. I've come a long way.
Hey, we've all been there, baby.
I hope not.
Well, no, sometimes you get lucky and somebody shows
like
you.
My first two grows were like, holy fuck. I was like, it's got to be better than this. I didn't have the beginner's luck, you know. I learned from some real geniuses. We did all the bro sciencey stuff.
We sure did too. We went through all those tried and true ways.
Dude, it makes me shudder thinking of the time. Like, this is all reasons like podcast, like the podcast exists. Like thinking of the time when like even forums were worthless, and like you just read the bottle and then like hoped that X percentage of the label was the right amount, and it was all bad all the time.
Oh wait, I messed up that cross. It wasn't LA Confidential and Jack Herrera. It was LA Confidential and Harlequin.
Oh, CBD possibly.
CBD, yeah.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, I loved it, and my patients didn't.
Do you think that it had more of the potential for CBD in it, and that's why they didn't like it, or was it that it was a funky, crazy taste?
I think so. I think it was more because I used it as like an all-day smoke. I liked it like first thing in the morning and like just all day. And my patients tend to like more of the heavier indica strains now, it seems. So
a punch in the face rather than a pat on the ass. I got you.
Speaking of heavier indica strains, Miss C, are you all right? Your eyes are barely open.
I've been getting up at 5 a.m. and going to the gym every day because that's how
she
I
said
have
I
to
and not we.
fit it in with
She
like
did.
a job. So it feels really late to me.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you.
Balance just getting up at 10:30, 11 and shit.
I'll be up at 4
Kick him
a.m.
on the way out.
Going to the gym, dude, lifting those hot pockets.
I wish I got to sleep in like that. My kid's out my butt right away.
I bet he is, dude. That kid has so much energy.
Mm-hmm.
All the time.
Sour melon incarnate.
Yeah, it's running through your blood over there.
Fucking stoned, man. Shit.
I'm stoned out of my mind right now. It's so high.
Cat's chatting about a bunch of old legacy strains. What's up, Tanasi?
Hey, not to rewind too much, but Cascadian had another like a follow-up, and
Yeah.
if I remember it correctly, it just was saying what was everybody's opinion on if somebody within the community tried to start something like what Philos did, is try to do it the right way. Do you think there'd be enough interest or enough trust for
There
people?
always will be.
That would depend on who it is.
It's going to be probably tough to get trust, but I think there's going to be people that would be interested, and then the more people that you get interested, and you don't screw them,
You
then
prove it through time.
That's a good point. Yeah.
that kind of a thing. They'll get more people, and if you get some people that are really trusted in the community, to jump on board, then other people will follow, I think. But
it needs
I
to be on a
think
decentralized platform. It can't be controlled by anybody that can fucking sell at this time.
The problem is they can
People
go out of
have,
business, and then all those things can be purchased.
and at the same time, it's going to be really factored into cost, because a lot of people they're going to say, oh, I'm going to have to pay, X amount of money to potentially get screwed too at the same time. That's a hard sell, a really hard sell.
well, people have been losing to Nigerian prince scams for like 40 years. So
Still waiting on
True.
it, man.
I have a feeling that you could make another Philos like every other year and be like, we're not the one, and you could get people. So yeah, I mean, just depending on who the spokesman is for the thing, like take
Hope springs
any,
eternal, brother.
let's say they took Tommy Chong and he wanted to be the spokesperson, just to name a person, like a highly respected cannabis person, whoever it was they wanted to prop in front of whatever company, people would automatically respect them more and try to use them or whatever. And for better or worse, that would be how they would market to the community.
Well, now we're scratching the surface of something else, and that is partnerships. Partnerships in cannabis are just, oof, man. Everybody's got a horror story.
Your data should be legitimate though. Like you got to have legitimate data from whoever you're getting those clones from. You have to either be dealing with possibly breeders or whoever's actually holding these legacy strains, like to get the actual genome testing laid down. So you have to kind of be reputable to get these reputable sources to be able to trust you in the first place. So like, yeah, do it right. Give somebody reputable. Make sure you're doing the right, because you don't want to just like OG cook or like a random Girl Scout cookies or something. Like, what kind of lineage you're gonna get? Who knows?
That's a big thing.
Who's calling what Girl Scout cookies?
This is, you guys are making me think. This is what I think would be the greatest thing, like best case scenario kind of thing. Imagine this is me thinking like best case scenario with this. If something like this was set up that had, the vast majority of what was on the commercial market, it could be something to the fact that a customer could walk into a dispensary, get their flower, scan a barcode on the product with their phone, and get all the medicinal properties, the test results, all of that thing, and know for sure that, whatever this product was, is this lineage. I mean, medicinal.
How that isn't a thing already, just like a QR code that has
Well, look, we were talking about beer. It would be like opening a thing of Budweiser, and inside of it is a Coors Light. You know what I mean?
I mean, dude, like they already have all of that shit attached to a metric tag attached to the flower already.
No terpenes, no genetics.
Well, I mean, sure, but like they can add like a thing for that. But
it
like
bothers me that the terpenes.
You're 90% of the way there.
So as in sales, you can't smell anything, and even when you could, you don't. What are these smells? You know what I mean? Even when you can smell, what are they? So without knowing what they are, so like without the terpene test, you're really just shooting a bunch of arrows at a dartboard, hoping to hit a bullseye. And sometimes you do, like a strong lime, you can get limonene, right? But there still might be some other things in there. And some actually terpenes and cannabinoids can synergistically react with medications and stuff like that. Like, so like terpene test is huge in medicinal cannabis, and it's huge in just recreational cannabis, being able to sell the stuff. So like being able to like have this barcode or have like this I don't even think you even need a name for it. We don't even need to know what it's called. We just need to know what the profile is, so we know what works for us, so that we could say, oh, that's you could call it number 137, and it says number 137 holds this profile, and number 231 holds this profile, and I love the number 432, so that one's totally going to hold my favorite profile. You know what I mean? So like I know to go search for this 432 or whatever, and that's basically what we're doing with these awesome strain names. We're just calling them all funky names.
What the real fact of the matter is, though, medical cannabis is kind of falling way to recreational cannabis. I'm sure Red can attest for this. I don't think the medical field's going to be out there for very much longer, because people don't need it as a requirement to grow recreational now. So that's going to affect the medical market as licenses are renewed for the medical. grows.
Hopefully the funding will still be there though, because it would be nice for me to be able to go, you know what? I know that if I find something that tastes like mangoes is going to be great for whatever, whatever, whatever. So if I can find some kind of profile that's like that when I go see red, then I know that I can find my way to trying to get some relief. Even if I'm going through the turnstile of a recreational thing, it's just like always, you know, it's just because it's flip flop now.
And as like a sales, you know, somebody in sales, I'd probably, or even let me just, let's talk medicinally. Let's talk about a caregiver's point of view. Maybe you're in a state that's just getting rolling with something. If you want mangoes or something, you know that mangoes is hitting you right. I'm probably gonna say, you know, just off of some knowledge, thinking that those fruits and like the mangoes hold myrcene. A large majority of cannabis on the shelf is high in myrcene. I'm gonna say it's probably myrcene that's helping you out. If you can't find this mango flavored strain because it sounds rare and a lot of people like it, well, let's find something else that might be really high in myrcene and let's see if it really works. So if we have this test result that says, ooh, this one's 4% myrcene in flower, let's hook you up with this 7% myrcene. Let's hook you up with this one. And let's see where it rolls. And then you're like, oh yeah, this one.
Right.
This is
and
one,
it could be something, you know, let's go out of this market and let's just talk about, let's say that Painted Lady grows this, let's call it an Afghani mango, because that's what I used to grow a long time ago. When she grows it out, it's better than when I grow it out. And because something that she does, she's able to bring a certain profile out of this plant that makes it better medicine than if I was trying to grow it myself. Can you see the possibility of that? Crickets.
It went in and out of me.
Crickets.
It went in and out of my end. Say it again.
Did it?
I can't see that.
Yeah, can you repeat that?
I'm saying, like,
you're
when
asking.
when I grew out the abolished OG, it was not the same as what Missy and abolished are able to get out of the exact same clone. So it just so happens that it is the same medicine. It'll knock you out like a horse hoof to the head. But you know, there are differences, and then there's differences
You can
too.
have that experience, sure.
Yeah.
Keep
I
going,
agree.
Scobo. Keep going. Keep going.
Yep.
I'm just battling with you. Go.
No, we're good. We're good.
You're spot on. It had all the effects, but you're saying it didn't have the taste that you were looking for.
Exactly. Right. And so that could make it different medicine, is what I'm saying, in the long run.
You can.
Yeah.
If I didn't knock it out of the park and I'm lacking.
So many cultivators grow Gorilla Glue. You know, like we have Gorilla Glue number 4 from like maybe potentially 3 to 4 different call them brands. This one, different brands, right? Different farms. Each one of those could have a slightly different effect, even if they all have the same cut, you know? So yeah, even in that respect, having those terpene profiles would even still help you someone distinct between those, because trying to figure out which one's going to give them the right effect.
Is it bong time?
It's a good point, man.
Song time.
The different lighting, song time.
I'll do
sequence.
it again, dude. I don't care. I did 3
dab in that bad
loads
boy.
so far.
I'm gonna suggest
Dude.
the dab again.
I got to clean it first. Last time was a horrible experience.
Do a nice clean zong dab. I think every
right,
time you
hold on, I'll
clean
go
that
clean
bad boy, your very first rip should be a nice.
I'll do it. Hold on, we got 7 minutes.
Yeah, I think you could have attained that smell and taste that you were looking for, Skilbo, if you got to keep your beds going or whatever. It was just a time thing. My soil is really, really old.
What if you grew the exact same way Abolished did?
Right. And then had the exact same environmentals, you know what I mean, in the same light. Then hopefully you could, you know, if you can recreate the environment, then you should be able to recreate what they brought out of the.
I still think the location changes something slight. I still think that there's an air pressure difference. There's a latitude difference. There's something that just nuanced that we don't recognize.
I think even like
attitudes.
How you cure it can make the difference too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I just think no matter what, a different person, it's going to be different.
That's what I've learned. Some things I can grow well and replicate. And then there are other things that you guys have that I've gotten clones of that I just prefer the way you do it better. You know,
and
no big deal.
The magician, rest in peace, the guy that handed the OG down to me, his didn't ever taste like that. I mean, it comes away. It's the terroir.
Mole Vision wants to know if one was to move to Michigan, which county has the best laws? That would be
Washtenaw.
Washtenaw. That's a quick one there, real quick. And no, I'm not cannabis laws. I'm cannabis laws dumb, but I'm enthusiastic about it at least. So there's that.
Can I say why for 1 second? Why Washtenaw, or not why, but what a couple of those might be?
Yes.
Well,
those are topics for the next show, right?
Well, yeah. I'm gonna get into that. Cannabis related. You're right. I was gonna do a cheap plug there, Scope Up.
Plug it, baby.
Cannabis related.
You're in the last 5 minutes of the show, Rick.
They actually relaxed. They relaxed their gifting laws to the point to where anyone who's allowed to basically grow a plant, which is a Michigan citizen of adult age, 21 or older, you're also allowed to gift, and as long as it's not large scale, collect reimbursement and reammunition for maybe not the cannabis exactly, but for your time or for anything like that. You're allowed to basically be a small scale. They basically opened up cottage farming, cottage scale, including they opened it up for the psychedelic medicines. So theogenic medicines, that
You
was
see
allowed
that? The
back
man
in
was trying to
September.
filter him.
I know they're trying to get him.
Are they getting me?
Yeah, they were trying to
in and
filter
out now.
rather than maybe lag out.
Quick repeat. Yeah. So back
Sequence
in
is
September,
back.
they gave it a quick little decriminalized
So
nature.
much
I'm gonna give
water
those
on my
guys a
floor.
shout out. Decriminalized nature got the ball rolling here in Ann Arbor, and hooked up that whole system to where they allowed plant entheogens.
My
and
pipe's
plant
all wet.
medicines. And they have their own little regulations for the city, and then it made it countywide. So Washtenaw County boosted that up, and then later on, or was it early in 2021, Washtenaw County now said, look, we're not even going to consider large amounts of cannabis and anything more than than what it is. These are all considered no more than alcohol, basically adult use, as long as it's in possession of an adult and it's not greater than. Now, this is the scary part, is it could be judge discretion of, quantities of, that could be considered high trafficking or something like that, or large scale is specifically used. So as long as it's not really large scale, it's not really deemed an offense. So you're allowed to pretty much medicate responsibly as an adult. They're being very progressive here in the county, in Michigan, and it's a huge step in the forward direction, because people are able to medicate responsibly, according to a lot of other different kinds of authors, not myself, but a lot of the mental health system hasn't really developed too much in the last 30 to 40 years. Neither has the medications that are still being prescribed. Nothing is really advanced, unlike other industries. So what they are seeing is a lot of promising effects, almost one and done type scenarios, helping people with addiction, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, bipolar, even schizophrenia, and all kinds of stuff. I'm not a doctor and I can't ever give medical advice, but there are research articles available for all kinds of topics on these theories. Not condoning the use of any kind of heavy illegal substances either, but tune on into Polarity Science after this show if you want to learn more about any of that kind of stuff and engage in any of that kind of conversation. So thanks, guys. I guess to sum it up, Washtenaw County has been very relaxed in that sense. Open cannabis laws forever, since they became
60s,
illegal
right?
everywhere else.
Sequence cleaned that big ass bong.
They became illegal everywhere else, but like,
Dude,
they
I'm working
pretty
on
much
it.
kept it out of Ann Arbor. They remained.
Guy can roll a joint in 30 seconds, but he's sitting here fucking around with
I
his
can actually
bong.
I can do that way faster than I can do a dab, because the dabs don't. You get all the setup shit to do.
Although we did have old Johnson
Hot enough. Hold on.
who went up for 2 joints, I believe it was. Yeah, they gave him 10 for 2. I'm not sure what city that happened in, if that was actually in Ann Arbor, but I know that the main protests occurred in Ann Arbor. So if anybody knows what city that happened to be in, that's a nice trivia.
That was the
question.
inspiration for Hash Bash, right? 10
That
for
is
2.
that is the inspiration for Hash Bash. Yeah, 10 for 2. What else could Judge Columbus do? I believe it was the old John Lennon line quote lyric. But
There's
yeah,
also, I mean, that's not just get stuck on Ann Arbor and
175
Washtenaw.
degrees.
There's like out by the Jackson area, Leone Township's really good if you're looking for like a weed friendly place. We got lots of facilities out there. Up there by Dan, up there by no, I can't think
Yeah,
of
Dan's area is booming.
Kalkaska or something like that. Is that how you say it? Yeah, up there is a really good,
Is that how you
strong
say it?
spot. Flint, what's the counties in Flint?
Genesee.
I don't know. Genesee
Genesee.
County.
Yeah.
Genesee County is really good, really weed friendly.
the west side of the state's coming up too.
Grand Rapids, yeah. What's
In north of Grand Rapids, there's a handful of cities like Newaygo and
Nice rip.
coming down the middle like Edmore and New Standard's got one in Sand Lake.
what about
That
Detroit?
one's
Detroit,
just
most of
north.
Detroit's pretty fucking cool with weed. Most of Detroit, I think, is pretty good.
Wayne
Detroit
County.
is incredibly
for legalizing
liberal with
it?
weed, except legalizing weed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like they're incredibly relaxed everywhere on cannabis, except the council trying to that should be
Well, they're
licensed
just
to make money. So.
they're doing the kind of the right way though. I think they're doing the legacy first, letting them get in the market first. I like that. That's really cool. So I'm not going to talk too much shit on them.
Let's assume it's all just cause, right? Let's assume
Red.
that there's no
Red, we got to run.
Red, we gotta
conspiracy.
run, man. You gotta
Oh,
do
dude, it's
your show
11:01.
soon.
Oh,
You
shit.
get your own
Okay.
show. We
All
got to
right,
get you on
You
there.
keep coming up with
30 more
side
seconds
tangents
if it
here.
goes past
No
11.
more side tangents. Let's roll.
Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it. It was a really fun show. Check out
Shout
the
out to our
sponsors.
sponsors.
Thank you to the members, patrons. Appreciate all the green names in chat. Means a lot to us. We can see your names easier, and I don't know.
Yeah, man.
Get to flout having a green name.
Yeah, man.
Come through tomorrow
And-
night, 11 p.m. for the late sesh. Me, Red, and Painted Lady,
Right.
and Spartan, and Sequence.
Destined to be a good time.
Cheers, Medical Mondays podcast. Make sure you catch them before the late sesh. They come on at 9 p.m. on their channel.
Absolutely.
The late
Got 'em
sesh.
quick.
The late sesh. Skilbo, somebody said something about a blood type RH negative or something like that. I don't know
I
if
believe
it
it
was
was Cheddar Bob. It was
Hey, Cheddar Bob.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. Shout out Cheddar Bob. Maybe that's a late sesh topic. If you're alluding to aliens, I'm not sure. That may be.
You just got to
alluding
cut
to
them.
aliens. You can cut me.
We're off. I'm just
Just got to cut 'em.
check out our sponsors, guys. Easy Swap Pots, 2020 Mendocino and State Genetics. State Genetics is doing a half off sale starting tomorrow.
Fire.
Fire. Later, guys.
Later.